The field is in the 33-degree banking of turn 3, awaiting the green flag this time around. And they're on a little bit of a hurry-up start here because there is rain to the west and on the way, though hopefully not until after race time. 500 or 499 miles, 188 laps.
There you see the pit window. We talked about the 13.5-gallon fuel cells, 30 to 35 laps. Lots of pit stops today.
They head for the tri-oval, where at Daytona, which is similarly configured but a little bit shorter, that's where the start-finish line is, right dead center of pit road. Here the start-finish line, as Darrell told you, is down toward turn number 1, so they got a ways to go before we get going.
Well, DW, it'll take us about a lap to get up to speed. Next time by, lap 1 will be over 195 miles per hour. Reach up there and pull them belts tight one more time.
Boogity, 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 boys, let's go racing.
Like a lot of racetracks, we'll see side-by-side racing. There's not a preferred groove. It's where the best cars are that's the preferred groove.
Dead heat at the front row. Dead heat. Looks like the pace lap.
Pretty much it till you get up to speed and see who's going to be cheating who.
Looks like that outside line, though, with Michael Waltrip in the 15 car. Joe Nemechek in the 01 got a good run down the backstretch off turn 2. Ricky Rudd would like to lead this first lap. He has not led a lap this year yet.
15 car looks awfully strong. He qualified up on the outside front row there, so he's going to be hard to handle, I think.
Pulls down to the inside in front of Ricky Rudd. He was so good yesterday, he completely skipped the final practice session.
Yeah, I talked to Michael last night, and he said the car was just awesome. He said he was looking forward to today's race. You can see why.
Joe Nemechek leads the outside line. Ricky Rudd the inside line behind Michael Waltrip, who was able to put a little distance on the field as they came back to the line.
That'll all change. I mean, basically, you got to think he's a sitting duck out there. You get out that far, and these cats get back here, get a run.
Nose, you're clear high, clear high.
As long as he can keep them stacked up behind him, it's a lot like the race he won here last year. Kind of moves one side to the other.
Jeff Gordon working the middle, now pulls up behind Greg Biffle on the outside.
What we saw yesterday in the Busch race, a little different aero package. The middle really didn't work that well unless you had a good line of cars lined up to push you up through there.
If you get a good run, you can go up through there, but you got to be able to go left or right when you get it. You'll run out of steam going up the middle, and then if you can move into one of the lines, it's okay.
And we're riding with Rusty Wallace in the Miller Lite car, the 2 car. Now he's been running the high line the last few laps, trying to get a group of cars behind him. Brian Vickers right now in the 25 is behind him, but there's not a lot of help with him.
That looked like spatters of oil on Jeff Gordon's in-car lens. Joe Nemechek has powered around the outside to the front. Nemechek also had a good day in yesterday's Aaron's 312 Busch race.
When you can get that almost like slingshot at the end of the straightaway and you can swing to the outside, you can make a pass.
Nemechek and Mark Martin are the front twosome.
We've been expecting the Hendrick car to be over strong.
Smoker turns.
Looks like Ricky Craven, the 32 car.
All right, Bo, got a lot of smoke, got a yellow.
Craven had dropped well back as you see the smoke from the left rear of his Tide Chevrolet.
They get those engines for the restrictor plate races from Richard Childress Racing.
It's definitely engines. That's coming out the exhaust pipe that exits right there in front of the right rear tire.
Internal problems, usually not correctable within the scope of a 500-mile race. We're under the first caution of the day. First caution of the day is out at Talladega. Ricky Craven appears to have lost an engine in turn number 3. Here's Dick Berggren.
Ford man Robin Pemberton learned racing as a kid working on local modifieds where he lived in upstate New York. He moved to North Carolina in search of a job in NASCAR's Big League and became Bobby Allison's crew chief in 1985. For the next 17 years, over 499 starts, Robin Pemberton earned 23 wins as a crew chief for Mark Martin, Kyle Petty, and Rusty Wallace. These days, he coordinates Ford's race effort as the company's field manager. Robin's job is getting the most out of the teams and the race cars that, like Ford street cars, are built Ford tough.
Riding with Ricky Rudd, who started this race from the pole and currently is 5th.
Ford's doing an interesting thing with Lynn St. James. They've got this program that they're developing to find a female driver that they can promote and get into the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. And I think that's kind of cool.
We're seeing several of the cars. In fact, there's quite a bit at the back of the field. Remember the smaller fuel cells, that fuel window is much smaller. So we're seeing, looks like maybe about 20 cars. Look like Kevin Harvick maybe was the first one to actually commit to pit road, coming to get full of gas. In fact, Joe Nemechek, the 01 car that had been leading there, came to pit road as well.
Steve Burns.
Well, Ricky Craven's just pulled his Chevrolet behind pit wall, Mike. And Ricky, I heard you say in the car, what can we do to get any luck at all? What's wrong with the power plant?
Well, we just obviously lost an engine. I don't know. I'm just puzzled. I mean, it's been such a slow start for us, and it's not just one thing. We just continue to have really strange circumstances. But you know, it's the same tied team that went to victory lane at Darlington and Martinsville. I got a lot of confidence in this group. We just got to battle through it.
Thanks, Ricky.
A very dejected Ricky Craven. Look at the 41, that white car with the bullseye, the Target Dodge of Casey Mears. He has climbed from 14th to 5th in 2 green flag laps, and right behind him, Jeff Green went from 15th to 7th. Those are the big movers in the early going. Here's our singular virtual crew chief question. Vote now from your singular wireless phone by sending text message FOX to phone number 191 or visit foxsports.com, and stay tuned for the results.
Yeah, we actually had 17 cars stay out on the racetrack. So with Ricky Craven in the garage area, that means 25 cars came to pit road. I didn't see any tire changing going on, basically a few adjustments, but mainly getting those fuel cells full of fuel.
From a safety standpoint of view, or from avoiding any problems, this is a good thing. You get all the cars in single file. They're not all bunched up now like they were on the start. Should see some good racing here now.
They have a pace truck here at Talladega rather than a pace car, and it's about to make the sharp left to pit road. It's one of those V10 Dodge SRT 10 Rams. Here we go.
Great to see Mark Martin, that 6 car up there leading the race. Had a great car at Martinsville last week, running in the top 5. Had a fuel line problem. The rubber inside of it came apart and really ended his day. And there you see, the pace car brings them down at about 70 miles per hour. They go through the gearbox. See the Fox tracks there. The speed continues to climb. Probably about 140 miles an hour as they turn off into turn 1. With the restrictor plate under the carburetor, it takes about 1 full lap to get up to full speed here.
One mover mid-pack. Looks like Nemechek made a pass on the outside, continues to gain ground. He was the first out, I believe, of the cars that did pit for fuel.
It's like any other mountain you climb. It'll jump up there at about 160 miles an hour pretty quickly. But that last 30 miles an hour you're looking for, it comes slowly.
Junior wasting no time and moving up to the outside of Jeff Green.
With no one behind him. No help whatsoever.
He's going to need some help out there. It's tough sledding out there by yourself. Somebody will get out there with you.
That somebody is Greg Biffle.
Remember, Greg Biffle was the only DEI car to win a restrictor plate race last year. He won the July race in Daytona.
The only non-DEI car.
Non-DEI car.
Roush Ford. Riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr., 4-time winner here. That's Jeff Green and Richard Petty's 43 on the inside.
And when you see a car as dominant as that 8 car is, when he moves the outside, you say, I'm going with him, because you know he's headed to the front.
Like Casey Mears in the 41 car there, the white car with a target on the hood. He wanted to move up there for a second, but then he moves back in behind Ricky Rudd in the 21.
Ricky Rudd started this race from the pole and runs in 3rd. Jeannie?
Well, you know, guys, you get by with a little help from your friends here at Talladega. So I guess Mr. Congeniality right now would be the 6 car of Mark Martin. Both Ricky Rudd of the 21 and Joe Nemechek of the 01 have been on the radio saying getting a good push from Mark Martin and talking about during the caution as well, just lining things up, ready to get the 6 in position to help them scoot forward.
But what we have to remember, almost every Ford in the field is kind of somewhat teammates. Remember, Roush and Yates has their engine package. Ricky Rudd runs the Roush Yates engine. So almost we have about 8 Fords that act like a team.
Oh, Rudd moved up to pick up Junior. Junior said no thanks. Cut further to the outside with Biffle. Rudd drops back in line.
Well, that line behind Junior right now is really stacking up so that he's getting a really good push now.
Yeah, Rudd was lucky to get back down there because he had a hole to fall into. Otherwise, he'd have probably been hung out.
Rush hour traffic.
Yeah, it didn't take them long to get 3 wide, did it? Single file restart, and here we go.
You see Sterling Marlin in that 40 car up there, the Kentucky Derby paint scheme on the hood, getting a good push from Robbie Gordon in the 31, trying to make that outside line move to the front. They're moving right now.
That's number 40, Marlin. Here he comes alongside Jeff Gordon and trying to pull it down on Greg Biffle in the 16.
Talked to Sterling last night, said he had a pretty good race car. He felt pretty confident this week. Kurt Busch coming in the picture there.
Listen to the RPMs. They never change. For the most part, these guys hold the throttle wide open all the way around this 2.66 mile track.
Oh, she's heating up at the front, though. Here comes Junebug on the outside, and he has friends.
Well, who wouldn't want to be his friend here, Darrell?
That's right. Well, we saw Greg Biffle yesterday just bump drafting everybody that he got behind. He can't keep up with Junior long enough to bump him.
We're riding with Kevin Harvick right now, the 29 car. Remember, he was one of the cars that came to pit road and topped off. He's already moved back up into the top 10.
And there you have it.
With no help.
He just drove around him on the outside. And the rest is history.
Junior, Mark Martin, then side by side, Marlin the white car on the outside, Greg Biffle inside, and then everybody else.
We have 34 cars running in less than 2 seconds, that whole pack.
And the Pied Piper is out front.
And they're 3 by 3 by 3 behind him.
That's right.
These 140,000 fans, all of them waving their red hats and shirts. They love it.
This race, a sellout. As Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads them around the world's fastest speedway. Laps complete. It's one big pack, but for a couple of stragglers, and it's led by Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Sterling Marlin made a pass on him back there. Mike going into turn 3 and took the lead coming out of turn 4.
Sterling getting quite a push from Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, and then he goes to the inside of Junior. Jeff Gordon wanted to get in, but he couldn't. Mark Martin in the 6 chopped him off.
Well, you don't often see Junior leave the bottom open. Here comes Kevin Harvick. He has come from 19th to 10th since the restart, and here's how.
That's just not enough room there for. Yeah, I guess there might be. You just give him a little shot. Look how that shoots that 41 car. Casey Mears ahead.
Casey Kane just in front of Harvick has come from 26th to 9th since the restart as Junior battles back for the lead.
Kind of hard to keep the lead, Larry. You get out there for a lap or two, but somebody will make a run on the outside and get around you.
Yeah, I mean, now we were talking about 34 cars. We have 39 cars that are 2 seconds apart right now.
And we were 4 wide coming through the tri-oval, which was Calamity Corner in yesterday's Busch race.
The tri-oval is the most difficult part of this racetrack. You're looser there, and you've got less control there than you do anywhere else on the racetrack, especially when people are all around you.
See Kenny Wallace back there in a 00 car owned by Michael Waltrip. That's a DEI engine in that car as well. Kenny making his first start this year in Nextel Cup.
Tony Stewart trying to squeeze through the middle, and here's Matt.
Mike, earlier in the show, Jeff Hammond documented how difficult it is for drivers to see. 4 years ago, Jeff Gordon complained to Mark Martin after the Bud shootout how difficult it was for him to see along the left side of his car. Mark actually gave him this bracket and mirror that came off his shootout car. Jeff ran it for 3 years. Then back at the Daytona 500, the team tried a little something different, a little more convex mirror. Jeff liked it, but he said he really couldn't see cars as they tried to peek out, trying to get a run on them. So they tried a little something different for today. They went to their local Lowe's and cut a plastic reflective mirror, mounted it on the left side A-post. But Jeff said it's starting to bubble. He cannot see very well. So they're going to go back to this mirror on hopefully what they get is an extended stop, double-sided tape. But spotter Ron Thiel is now really going to have to be on his toes to help Jeff on the left side of his race car.
We got another lead change. Got another cat out front. It seems like it today, unlike in the past, you can get a run on the guy leading the race and get around him.
Kurt Busch brings his Sharpie forward to the line, and he brought Casey Mears with him.
And watch Jeff. Watch him look up at those mirrors.
There's that little mirror over toward the A-pillar or the windshield post.
Yeah, the one he wants to watch is the one right there above him, and that tells him where everybody behind him is, and he will constantly be looking in that mirror. You kind of know where the cat in front of you is. Everybody's running wide open. It's where all the other people are you want to know.
You know, as we watch Kurt Busch in the 97 car lead this race, this is not a huge surprise. He ran his first restrictor plate races. He's going to get a challenge open to Casey Mears in the 41. His first restrictor plate race back in 2001, he picked up on the draft. I was talking to Jimmy Finney this morning and said, Kurt figured out this draft, one of his first races at Daytona. And this is the same car he ran there with the leaders all day long at Daytona, got a lap down, couldn't get it made up.
And the reason why we always holler about 3 wide, 3 wide, you see how he's trying to force, that was Robbie Gordon trying to force in between those two cars. They buffer off of each other from the wind, and then they hit each other and they wreck.
5th time Kurt Busch has led at Talladega. Casey Mears is our new leader. As soon as we get around to talking about a leader, it just changed already.
These guys are getting such a run into the corner. I think they've got more momentum getting into the corner than I've seen here in a while.
Steve Burns.
Mike Warburton had high hopes today. He qualified that 0 car in the 10th position. He has dropped all the way back to 39th. He said his water temperature is up around 300 degrees. It is not dropping at all. He went to the back to try to get some clean air, but they are very worried down here in the pits. They have water standing by in case Ward has to make an emergency stop and put it into the radiator.
Two fellows coming up through. Johnny Sauter on the left of your screen. The AOL Chevy up to 18th now. And Tony Stewart has come up into the top 10.
And Larry, this heating problem. Yesterday, cars overheating. Today, cars overheating. What is going on?
Well, and I talked to a lot of crew chiefs this morning because they did pay a lot of attention to that Busch race yesterday where a lot of cars were overheating. These guys run as much tape on the nose as they possibly can because that really helps the straightaway speed. And Darrell, you and I talked yesterday, it's like you can never simulate race conditions in those practices. And when these cars get in a 39-pack wad, there's not a lot of air flowing through it unless you're out leading like Casey Mears, and I think they get sucked into running too much tape.
Jimmy Johnson running right behind Robbie Gordon.
Oh, trouble.
There it is.
17.
Matt Kenseth, the 17.
9.
Casey Kane.
I think it's going to be, I don't think that many guys are going to get in it, y'all.
Darrell, I like what Casey Kane did. He just cut left and cut away from it and slid down, and I don't believe Casey Kane made any contact.
I don't think anybody did. I don't believe the 17 did. Matt Kenseth, the 9 looks like he's driving off.
Yeah, we didn't hit anything. We didn't tear anything up here, I don't think. The towing seems like, well, I don't know. I don't think we heard anything. Just watch the tires so they don't come apart here.
That's Matt Kenseth, and he sounds a little surprised.
Yeah, I can't believe he hadn't torn up something. He may have some damage on the right front. I can't tell just yet.
This happened coming out of the tri-oval, and it puts us under the second caution of the day.
Well, the reason he sounds surprised is he went across the start-finish line in 18th and Kane in 20th, and everybody else was right around him.
Let's see what happened here. 22 car had to check. Well, I guess he's seeing them spin in front of him.
Oh, Casey Kane got turned by Elliott Sadler. He didn't turn left, he got turned.
There you go.
But for being in the middle of the pack and nobody hit anybody really, pretty lucky.
A little different view
Watch
right
the yellow
here.
car right in the middle of the pack.
Ooh, yeah.
Slid up into Kevin Harvick.
Yep. The tri-oval, and then the 9 got turned by the 38 there at Sadler, but that was because they were all trying to slow down.
You saw the Fox tracks there. He was spinning across the finish line at over 100 miles per hour.
And all I saw was that as Kenseth spins, either the front or the back of his car may have gotten into Kenny Wallace, the side of Kenny's car.
Yeah, they made a little contact right there in the 29 car, actually. But I can't stress enough how difficult the tri-oval is. You'd think it'd be a piece of cake, but there's not enough banking there for the kind of speed we're running. Hit a gear and go, baby.
But you know, we had Jimmy Spencer up here yesterday. He was talking about that being the toughest part of the racetrack. It always feels like it's loose or wanting to have the tail come around there.
We'll come back and double check these cars for damage. We're under the second caution of the day in the Aaron's 499. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Second caution of the day in the Aaron's 499. Matt Kenseth spins after contact with Kevin Harvick. Casual contact. Kenseth spun, caught a piece of Kenny Wallace, and Casey Kane got turned around by Elliott Sadler. Quaker State aerial coverage showing you the huge throng at Talladega and the vastness of this great speedway as pit road is open. Matt Yoakum.
Jeff Gordon makes his way to his pit stall. We told you earlier, they're going to work on that mirror. Mechanic Jay Lupo hands it through the window to Jeff. He's going to try to stick it on with that double-sided tape. As he's down and away to Jeannie.
Overheating a problem for Casey Mears in the fall race. You better believe he's been all over the gauges. Really likes the way the car is out in front. They just took right side's air pressure. Steve?
Jeannie, Michael Waltrip very loose, almost makes contact with Kenny Schrader on pit road. Let's go to Dick.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew has just taken one round of wedge out of the left side. His only complaint about the car, not everybody will work with him. If they won't work with Earnhardt, who will they work with?
Good point, Dick. We saw one loose wheel from Rusty Wallace's car that was quickly retrieved by the crew. Here is another one.
And Dale Jr. took 4 tires, one of the few cars that did. Most of these cats took 2.
Elliott Sadler, some work on the nose of his car after contact with Casey Kane. And Johnny Benson got turned around on pit road trying to come in to make his stop.
Yeah, I mean, we basically had about 38 or 39 cars all on pit road at one time.
Well, let's see where this came from.
Nobody's going to claim it. You can bet that.
Looks like it probably was the right rear tire off the 30 car. Johnny Sauter's car. Casey Mears in the 41 hits it as he leaves his pit.
Now, that could damage the nose on that 41 car because the tires weigh about 75 pounds.
Aren't the teams required to put their car number on each wheel?
Yeah, it's a good idea. Except when it's sitting out in the middle of the pits.
That's right.
It looks pretty good.
Because Sauter's team did not leave that tire laying on pit road, it is not considered a violation, as if the team had let it roll away. So no harm, no foul. It's on in Talladega. They just waved the green flag for the restart. Here they come with Robbie Gordon leading Casey Mears, Sterling Marlin, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Jimmy Johnson, Derek Koch, Kurt Busch, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., the top 10.
And Robbie Gordon had a great run yesterday in the Busch race. And I still think, Larry, we've seen it time and time again this year more than ever before. Running on Saturday helps you on Sunday.
Absolutely, absolutely. We know Richard Childress has a great restrictor plate program. We need to document, because of pitting too soon before pit road was open, Casey Kane and Matt Kenseth involved in that accident had to start at the rear of this field.
And Matt Kenseth is about a half lap behind. He got out of the pit late when they were coming to get the green.
Those were the 2 cars that were the most damaged. Here's Dave Blaney at the back of the pack, and a lot of tape on his car after contact on pit road with Johnny Benson. And the lonely guy is Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, he was not up to speed.
Matt?
Mike, 5 trips to pit road for Matt Kenseth. The 17 guys took a backup front fascia, cut off the right front corner with a Sawzall, used pop rivets and duct tape to try to help fix that right front corner to help that car in the aerodynamic department any way they could, because there was so much cosmetic damage. Today.
A lot of damage to the front end of Elliott Sadler's car. Right now, the crew, led by crew chief Todd Parrott, is working with a new nose piece. They're trying to figure out how exactly they want to slice it so they can get it onto the nose of that race car and get it fixed. See the lines? That's where they're looking about to cut this thing with a Sawzall and try to get this car back aerodynamically.
Yeah, the nose of that car is pushed in pretty severely right in the center in the grill area. You can see it there that just above the...
Well, he hit Casey Kane pretty hard.
He did. Well, Kane was checking up for the Kenseth, and Elliott just rammed into the back of him.
And certainly Elliott Sadler and Todd Parrott, that group, what they want right now is they want a caution where they can get to pit road and fix this thing. But regardless of how well Matt Kenseth's car is repaired, he's a half lap down, and the way the draft worked, he's sitting back there running about a second and a half slower than this pack of cars by himself.
And Elliott Sadler, remember, had to start in the back because of an engine change. So not being up in the front may have gotten him in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Kenseth's back here running 52.4. The leaders are up here running 49.7. So it's not going to take them long to track him down.
And the leaders have gone single file behind Robbie Gordon.
Well, we saw Robbie yesterday. I mean, I know he had to be heartbroken at the end of the race yesterday. Had a great car and ended up 6th, but he's back out front again today.
Michael Waltrip coming up the outside. Casey Mears comes up using that mirror to pull up in front of Michael. They are second and third. Mears comes back down to tack on to Robbie Gordon, and here comes Jeff Gordon, 24 on the high side.
Well, you get, again, I'm amazed at the run you get going into the corner on the outside. It's like that front car just sucks you around him.
And I tell you, Darrell, when these Chevrolets get hooked up like Jeff Gordon in the 24 riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr., you've got Michael Waltrip up there. I mean, the Chevrolets are so strong at this place.
And Junior came in, he took 4 tires, Larry, and he started back in 10th place. And, I mean, he was driving right around these guys.
Yeah, by changing 4 tires, his guys picked him up even about 5 positions on pit road.
I think McMurray and maybe the 48 made a bit of contact. You saw a puff of smoke there, tire smoke, as Gordon guns for the lead.
That's one of the things that's so hard to get used to here when you're in this pack like this. People, Post Center's on pit road.
That's not good.
Yeah, he had been dropping back. He had dropped back to about 25th just after that last restart. Looks like possibly maybe a vibration or something. They're going to change 4 tires. Steve Burton, how about the man that's been leading here lately, Robbie Gordon?
Larry Mack, he's having some extra anxious moments right now. He just seconds ago said he ran over something coming off of turn 4.
And at 190-something miles an hour plus, that can be a little alarming.
And the pack was single file through the first dozen spots a lap ago, and now look at it.
And while they were single file, about the top 15 was pulling away from the others. Now that they're doing this, that group is caught back up again.
White knuckle racing. This many cars under a blanket, you can see why.
Watch those 2 cars on the outside. There's the 8 and the 20, and they have got a relationship going, and they like hanging out together.
And this pack right here is going to catch Ricky Rudd halfway down the backstretch, who just left from pit road. Maybe he can get up with this pack, and remember, he can always get that free pass should a caution come out if he's the first car a lap down. Look how fast they're blowing by him, because like we talked earlier, it takes a full lap to get up to speed here when you leave pit road.
Let's go back and show you that contact between Jimmy Johnson and Jamie McMurray a lap or so ago.
We just got a confirmation that Ricky Rudd did have a vibration when he came to pit road.
See there again, he's trying, 42 McMurray's trying to squeeze in a hole that is not there, but that's something you got to get used to. The hardest thing to get used to is people running into you here, whether they're helping you by bump drafting or just making contact like that.
And Darrell, what we've seen, you know, if you damage the side of the car, that's not too bad. You damage one of those front fenders or the nose like Elliott Sadler, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, I don't mind caving the side in. It makes my car smaller.
From Dale Jr., Tony Stewart right behind his Daytona drafting partner. As he mentioned, they ran to a 1-2 finish in the Daytona 500. That's Joe Nemechek in the Army 01, inside of Tony now. Kevin Harvick inside of Jr. and Robbie Gordon on the bottom. Jeff Gordon, the leader, with Casey Mears.
Talking about Tony Stewart, Danny Lasowski drives his sprint car for him. You talking about a cat that is still pumped up because of that IROC race at Texas.
We got trouble. Jimmy Johnson, looks like it's a tire that's down. Remember, they're the tire came apart.
Got a big hunk of debris right. You're going to have a caution.
And that'll be a big break for him and a big break for Matt Kenseth. Caution is out.
How about Ricky Rudd? Is he going to be, he should get the free pass, lucky dog.
I believe you're right. He'll be the first car 1 lap down.
So
let's show you again where this may have started. Watch the left of your screen.
Oh yeah, definitely. When they were coming right through here, they made contact, and we've seen that so many times. These front fenders get in those left rears and cut them down.
And let's show you the result.
Whoa, baby, he's doing a good job of hanging on that thing. And Rusty, good thing he had an old veteran like Rusty behind him, give him some room and then get into him.
Yeah,
Here goes the tire
about
apart.
A dozen so cars behind him. There you see it come apart. Shortly after that, the caution came out.
Ride with Rusty Wallace here.
Starting to see smoke right there.
Yeah. That's why Rusty was, you know, Rusty probably needed to give him a little extra room here. You hear Rusty working the throttle.
Could you imagine going down the interstate at 55 miles an hour, your left rear tire come apart? Remember, that was 195 miles per hour.
We talked last season in his championship winning season about Matt Kenseth's luck, and it continues. Kenseth was only about 12 seconds from going a lap down to the leaders, and the caution flag saved him. Caution out for the 3rd time today in the Aaron's 499 at Talladega. Jimmy Johnson losing a tire after earlier contact with Jamie McMurray. And that tire shredded, and Johnson was able to hold on to it. The field scattered. Everybody gathered it up okay. And waiting for pit road to open, perhaps this time by. Jeff Gordon is your leader. You're riding on board his Pepsi DuPont Chevy. That's Casey Mears, who's had a great run thus far. Chevy points leaders in this race. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader. Jeff Gordon right now third in the standings, and Tony Stewart fourth. So the question, Larry, is who will pit and who might not?
I think most of them are going to pit, but I think we're going to see a lot of fuel only because they only have about 6 laps. You see everybody from Jeff Gordon on back, but I bet you 90% of these guys, Matt, will be fuel only.
Heavy on the binders for Jeff Gordon as he makes his way in, expecting, as you see, Craven with the can, gas only for Jeff Gordon, gas only for Tony Stewart. Jimmy Johnson's teammate has already been in twice. Steve?
Well, Matt, right side tires for Kevin Harvick, and it should be right side tires only. He says his car is fast, and he's away.
Dale Earnhardt is on pit road right now for fuel, and get this, a side mirror. They have just put a new side mirror on his roll bar. Junior says the car is fine, but he just wanted to see a little bit better. They tied it on with Velcro and a tie wrap, and they're hoping it'll stay there.
These gas-only stops are difficult as Johnny Sauter tries to get back into position. He was sideways because half the field is still coming in while the first half has gotten their gas and they're coming out of their pits. Watch this.
See Casey Mears in the 41 car. Now, that could do a lot of damage to the front end of that car. But once again, this is not Casey Mears' fault. Spotter, crew chief.
They got a pretty good nose on that 41 car because they hit the tire earlier. Didn't seem to do a lot of damage, and that doesn't appear to have done a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's the second incident involving those two teams in the pits.
To me, that's the downside to the small fuel cell. You just spend too much time on pit road. Too many chances for things like that to happen.
With a bigger fuel cell, 6 laps, most teams at the front would not have ever pitted.
Exactly.
Jimmy Johnson getting a remedial repair, as is Elliott Sadler from the earlier bump with Casey Kane. So let's go to Chris Myers for a Visa Race Break.
Thanks, Mike. Guys in the Hollywood Hotel with the Jeff Hammond with Dale Jarrett moving to the front. We now have had 11 leaders today. 12 leaders is the most we've had in any race this year. So setting the pace for what we probably will see all afternoon.
Definitely so, Chris. When you come to Talladega, it's always about who can get to the front. Leading is very prestigious, but if you got a good race car, that's really where you want to be to kind of stay out of trouble.
All right, a lot of work in the pits. So let's take a look at Jimmy Johnson. Mike explained why he had the problem with the tire, and they're just hammering away.
Again, the bump drafting these guys have been doing, you can see the crewman, he's working very diligently right now, trying to roll that bar back down. So not only will it help to protect the front end, but also to get air back inside of it. Now, watch here the contact that's being made here on pit road.
That's Dave Blaney.
Yep, Dave Blaney. You see Johnny Benson going around. I mean, pit road is so dangerous when it comes to the fact there are so many cars. You see the criminal coming out. They're trying to fit a new piece on that corner, the right front corner, the damage he had. They need to add a piece to it. And another victim of some early damage early on was Elliott Sadler. He got in one of the accidents first part of the race. He run in the back of a guy, again, punching the nose in. The crew is working very hard right now trying to repair that nose so he can get aerodynamics back in on that 38 car.
So the traffic in and around pit road just as exciting or adventurous as what's going out on the track. And we'll be back in Talladega. NASCAR on Fox continues here in just a moment.
We're all done with the third caution of the day. They'll get the green this time around. Jeff Gordon leading Joe Nemechek, Scott Wimmer, who went from 11th to 3rd during this caution flag with a good stop. The McDonald's Drive-Thru Championship fueled by Powerade. There are the standings after 8 of 36 races among the teams that choose to compete in this competition. Big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for the team with the least amount of time spent on pit road throughout the season. Gordon, Nemechek, Wimmer, then Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Robbie Gordon, Brian Vickers, the Busch champion and rookie, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, the top 10 at pace speed, 70 miles an hour roughly. And then they'll grab a gear and we'll go back to green, finishing up the third caution period of the day.
You know, it's pretty cool without a speedometer or anything else. Just got a tack, speed limit 70 mile an hour. Guys are dead on it.
racetracks on Robbie Gordon back there in 6th position. Now Brian Vickers, who's back in 7th in the 25 car, up to speed through the gearbox.
One of the reasons they hang out next to the wall like that is so you can only pass to the right. So if a guy behind you anticipates that start and you leave a little room, he can get up beside you.
Once you get past the start-finish line, you can do what Dale Jr. just did, drop to the bottom as he passes Scott Wimmer for 3rd.
Anticipating those restarts is very, very important with these high gears and low horsepower.
We also see teammates right there, Kevin Harvick in the 29, Robbie Gordon in the 31, stacking up behind Dale Earnhardt Jr., working the high side. Scott Wimmer, of course, in the 22 car, remember, had that great 3rd place run back in the Daytona 500 with this very car. Definitely been the highlight of his season.
And did it with some good pit strategy, too.
Yes, sir.
I think that's how he got up there just now.
Wimmer, the best Dodge in the race right now. Jeff Burton is the best Ford in 9th place.
Here comes the Pied Piper.
yeah. Follow me, baby. If I was out there, I'd be looking for him all day long. Where you go, I go. You go to the bathroom, I go to the bathroom.
All right, let's get an update on caution flag stops. First to Jeannie.
Well, guys, you were talking about the usefulness of teammates, and there's some other uses as well. The 42 car of Jamie McMurray did the courtesy for the 41 teammate of Casey Mears. Checking out his car, he said, you do have some damage to that right front, and he did start to feel some tire rub. Casey, that is, and you can see right here, it was rubbing on that right front tire. That fender was pushed in. He made the pit stop. They did the repairs to the car with a whole lot of tape and gave him 4 new tires. Matt?
Jeannie, Ron Malik and Joe Zanolini did a lot of work on that left rear quarter, Chad. How bad's the damage?
I don't think the damage is really that bad. Our car is just terrible today. I hate to say it. I don't know what happened. I mean, yesterday we were great and happy hour, real happy with the car from the time we unloaded, but today it's just terrible. So I don't know what's happened, but we'll keep working on it. I can promise you that. We'll get the low Chevrolet back up there and we'll get us a good top 10 out of this day.
Chris Osborne, his spotter, came on and told Jimmy, I apologize. The 42 had such a great run, so fast, I didn't even have a chance to key the mic to tell you.
We saw that in the Busch race yesterday, and I have to believe it's this little bit different construction of tire. A lot of cars fighting handling issues. And only handling's not an issue at Talladega.
Yeah, I just Chad said the car is terrible. I just wondered if it was a handling issue.
Michael Waltrip behind Kevin Harvick for 2nd or 3rd place, depending on how you mark it.
Hey, I watch that inside line, that old Home Depot car. Tony Stewart in that 20, he's starting to make a move here. Getting some help from Kurt Busch in the 97 car, Mark Martin in the 6.
And every time they put up the safer barriers, everybody says, oh, it's going to affect the racing. And I have yet to see where it's affected anything. Darlington here, wherever we go, the guys just adjust to it and keep on digging.
And we were watching early in the race, Rusty Wallace here in the 2 cars we ride with him. He's been working that high line, and right now I think he has his teammate right behind him in the 12 car. And look at Jimmy Johnson. That car's not too bad, Chad. Matt Yoakum.
Larry, what Chad Knaus was talking about, the car during final practice sucked up awesome. Now he says the car just will not suck up as well as Jimmy needs. He's really got to work a lot harder to get that 48 car to cut up through traffic.
Matt, one of the problems you run into when you're out there with a few cars is your car it'll run a lot differently than it will when it's in this mess right here. Air is so disturbed, it's moving all over the place. Sometimes you're just not getting air into the carburetor.
And that's something, like we talked earlier, you just can't duplicate in practice.
And that's why when we see them out there in practice running like they're racing, you've got to do that in order to give feedback to the crew.
3 wide, back to 3 wide. 3 wide, 3 wide.
This is big right here, guys.
Tony Stewart, who restarted 9th, has the lead, but for how long? He's on the high side, and they're all lined up beneath him and behind him.
Oh, this is huge.
5th time that Tony has led a Cup race at Talladega.
Everybody's got to man their manners here.
Tell you what, looks like Kevin Harvick in that 29 car, he got quite a run through the middle of 1 and 2, but Tony was on the high side off 2 in the 20 car, and he got the run. Won the battle off turn 2.
If you have to squeeze out of the throttle or touch the brake, either one, you lose so much momentum that they just sail around you.
There are 40 cars in this pack of 43 that started.
I look at the front of this pack, I see a lot of our rookies. We're looking back at Brian Vickers over there in the 25 car. You got Scott Wimmer right beside him in the 22 car. A lot of our rookies, some of them making their first start here at Talladega, right up there in the front, like veterans.
And you know what they'd say? Oh, this is fun.
This is cool.
Stewart under pressure as they get 4 wide. Kevin Harvick on the bottom. Takes the lead.
And as
Gives it back.
As Darrell was talking earlier, 4 wide, this racetrack is plenty wide enough, but these cars move around and bounce around so much, all it takes is one bounce the wrong way, and you got the big one.
That yellow car right in the center of your screen, that cat car, is rookie Scott Wimmer. Steve?
And Mike, Larry Mack was right. His 3rd place finish at Daytona, his best finish of the year on that last pit stop. They took fuel only, no tires, no adjustments. Scott Wimmer likes the way that car's handling.
Boy, I don't. Man, I just saw that thing get loose up here in the middle of 3 and 4. And Larry, it looks to me like that's an issue with some of these guys right now. Their cars look real loose.
And I think that possibly is a product of this little different construction of tire that Goodyear's running here.
4 wide where Wimmer is. Now it gets down to 3 abreast.
Not for long.
Junior the leader. Harvick coming back on the inside with Stewart. Harvick back to the lead. Remember, the lead changes only count if there's a different leader at the start-finish line than there was last time. So far, 12 drivers have made a total of 16 lead changes.
I love our scoring monitor. There's 38 cars in this pack, and what it indicates is if we see a green dot, they held their position. A blue or red arrow indicates they changed position. There's no green dots on this scoring monitor. Every car in the top 39 changed positions that last lap.
Dick Berggren.
Now, Mike, I'm very close to the racetrack. And what I'm seeing is frightening. These guys are all over each other. Front bumpers into back bumpers, all through this pack of 3 and 4 wide. I went through the garage this morning and I asked people about those bumpers. And in team after team, I was told these are the strongest bumpers they run all year. The stuff they've got here at Talladega, so they can bump draft. I'll tell you what, it's frightening to watch from where I am.
To put this in perspective for the folks at home, you don't park this close.
No, and in the 8 car, Dale Jr. just turned down in front of Brian Vickers, and they made a little contact back there on the back straightaway.
And there's a fine line. You want that front bumper just as strong as you can where that nose don't give in, but you don't want that rear bumper so strong that when somebody's bump drafting you, they can spin you out.
Darrell, you said Junior turned down on Vickers. We saw under caution where his A-post mirror, the windshield post mirror that was Velcroed on, fell off. He didn't have that mirror to rely on.
No, he was up there adjusting on it. It was Velcroed to the roll bar, and it fell off as he was riding along, so he doesn't have that working right now.
So right now, he's totally dependent on Stevie Reeves, his spotter above us, and coming off turn 4, the spotters really don't get a perspective of being clear because they're coming right at the spotters.
Kevin Harvick will give you a perspective. He's got the lead with Tony Stewart. You're riding with Junior in 3rd, Michael Waltrip on the outside. Kevin Harvick, one of 13 different leaders today so far at Talladega in just 48 laps. 52 laps complete. Dale Earnhardt Jr. the leader over Brian Vickers and Jimmy Johnson. You're riding with Kenny Wallace. That's Kurt Busch alongside. Do the math, folks. Here are the biggest movers in this race. And look at Matt Kenseth, who restarted 39th on lap 40, and he's made it up into the top 10.
And you know, Mike and Larry, I know that Dale Jr. like to win this race today because Thursday is Dale Earnhardt Day up at the DEI, and it's Dale's birthday. And of course, they got a victory yesterday in the Busch race. Probably like to take one home and make a great week for him.
Trouble, Darrell. Joe Nemechek way off the pace, way up high. A car almost got into him, but Nemechek was able to stay clear and got out of trouble.
I think something had been going on with that car for about the last lap or two. He almost got into Matt Kenseth in the 17 car just about a half a lap ago. I think we'll see it right here. It's coming off turn 4.
Oh, he got forced in there by the 77 car. Made a little contact with Brendan there, and that forced Nemechek down into Kenseth.
3 wide for the lead. They think it's a tire on Nemechek. He will pit as the battle for the lead is 3 abreast. And remember, Chad, We're junked today, Knaus. There's his car. Jimmy Johnson going for the lead.
I'm going to tell you who else is there going for the lead. How about Ward Burton in that 0 car right there? I know he had a great qualifying run, but just remember our pit guys had talked about he was running hot. They pulled all the tape off that car. He almost lost the lead draft not that many laps ago, and there he is sitting there battling for the lead with these guys. Steve Burns.
Yeah, Larry, we just checked in the pits, and they did, in fact, take every piece of tape off that grill that they could. The temperatures have come back down. The problem he's going to have now, though, is he has got to stay sucked up in the draft all day long. Jeannie?
Well, Joe Nemechek, just a few laps back, started to notice something was going on with the car, and as it turned out, he was absolutely right. That left front tire completely cut down.
Nemechek is back on track, and he's going to get overhauled by the lead draft before he gets up to speed. He'll go a lap down, and that lead draft is 39 cars long.
But you know, Larry, I see these guys tape up these noses and fix them and repair them with pieces. It looks to me like taking tape off doesn't hurt a thing.
Well, we saw it yesterday in the Busch race with Kyle Busch. Now, Joe Nemechek's situation is pretty much a mirror of what happened to Ricky Rudd earlier in the race. And right now, we've got 41 cars on the lead lap. Joe would be 42. So very well, he should be able to get that free pass should we get a caution.
It looks to me like the old 23 car has come to life. That'd be the 8 and the 15.
8 and 15, 23. I thought you were talking about Blaney. There. And they get you the 23, Darrell. Dave Blaney.
Sorry about that.
You know, we got more cars with body damage at this stage in the race than we had at the checkered flag at Martinsville last week.
See Ricky Craven in the Tide car right there coming back out on the racetrack. It was reported that he had a broken rocker arm, and he will be back out there, but he'll be 53 laps down, just trying to make circles and see what happens.
Well, the way that thing was smoking, Larry, out the tailpipe, I would have never believed they could fix it.
Me either.
But a third of the way through this race, all 43 cars are out on the racetrack, and 41 to 42 of them are on the lead lap.
20 lead changes. We're not even close to halfway. Nick Berger.
Car number 25, Brian Vickers, started all the way back in the 39th position. And you talk to the mechanics here in the garage area, and they'll tell you there's almost nothing that they could do to a car to fix it, make it better because of NASCAR's tight rules. But guess what? Right now, Vickers has just taken the lead. His crew chief this morning, Peter Suspenzo, told me that all he did was work on the motor a little bit, tune it up, work on the tailpipes, work on the cowl, and wow, he's leading. This kid, by the way, is only 20 years old.
And speaking of wow, how about Matt Kenseth, that 17 car? Here we are at lap 57 on lap 21. He was backwards across the finish line. Here he's up there bidding for the lead.
My experience has been, Larry, you can fix them better at the track during the race than you can when you get here with them.
Yes, you can. That's right. Fix them at the track. You don't have to go back through inspection when you fix them in the middle of the race. Looking back from second place, Dale Earnhardt Jr. at his teammate, Michael Waltrip, at Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson. Brian Vickers hauls them around Talladega in that Hendrick Chevy.
Boy, Michael just drove down under Dale Jr. and I don't know if he can slide up in front of him or not, but he's trying to get down there with Vickers.
This is 8, the first car outside, with 29 and 31 helping him. 17, 48 with you.
But Darrell, what I'm seeing, you talk about fixing these race cars during the race. What I see these teams doing, they're much better prepared to make repairs on their race car. They have half noses, center of the noses. It's not just trying to tape it back up anymore.
No, they know that they're going to have contact here. They know they're going to bump draft, they're going to hurt the noses. Maybe they need pieces, extra pieces here, probably more than they do even at Martinsville.
How about Brian Vickers, last year's Busch Series champion?
He was trying to put the block on Michael right there in the 15 car, Michael Waltrip.
He's only got a couple of races here under his belt.
Kenseth looks like he's off the pace again.
He is, Darrell. He's below the yellow line and
slowing down, yeah. Something's wrong. I think he's got a little blue smoke coming out of the back of that thing.
Defending Cup champion down on the apron, Matt Kenseth.
That didn't have the look of a tire. It may be, but it looked more like it's more terminal than that.
Just remember, Roush Yates' engine, if this is an engine problem, Elliott Sadler had an engine problem yesterday right at the tail end of happy hour.
And the Fox tracker showed he was coasting. Jimmy Johnson 2 wheels below the yellow line, but he was trying to get straightened out after contact with Tony Stewart.
He did not advance his position. No. As long as you don't advance your position, or if you give it right back, it's not a penalty. No harm, no foul.
And talking about Kenseth, remember that Mark Martin and I think it was Jeff Burton had engine problems at Daytona.
Matt?
You can add the 17-inch, that list from Daytona. The 17 crew guys are packing up their pit. They're saying the engine is done.
Oh boy. Just remember, he came in here third in the points.
You don't get many points when you finish last.
It takes 1 week to lose them. It could take a month or so to get them back.
Michael Waltrip, the leader at Talladega. Cook family of drivers in this race. Michael Waltrip out front. Kevin Harvick fifth. Tony Stewart in the top 10. And a big trouble for Dave Blaney in that unsponsored Bill Davis Dodge. Came here with high hopes.
It like to have been big trouble for about 20 other cars.
Oh man, right in the middle of this crowd back here, he just went up the hill when that tire let go.
Everybody behind him had to check up. We stay green, but you'll be able to see that it has completely split this field in half. The cars that were in front of Blaney at the incident and the cars that were behind and had to scatter. Watch the 23.
Here he comes right up there. Oh man.
Blaney has a new tire. He's back on track. Watch the 77. Gone.
Man, that 30 car was gone. I think that may be where he cut his. I don't know. It could be. Maybe that's where his tire got cut down.
Well, let's watch from Johnny Sauter and listen.
Yeah,
knocked the
right
fender
there.
into it.
Exactly. Knocked the fender right into it. That's exactly where it started smoking.
Man, a picture worth 1,000 words, isn't it, Larry?
Yes, it is.
We're on it. Well, Artie and Neil are on it.
Well, great thanks to our Fox cameramen and the replay producers, the folks back in the tape room. It's a lot to keep up with here, and congratulations to our entire NASCAR on Fox crew, winner of the Sports Emmy for Technical Team Remote. What it takes to get all this to the track and get it on the air to you is a Herculean production, and well done, everybody.
Dave Blaney's got more problems because he's back to pit road again. But Matt Yoakum, how about the man running in second right now?
A great run going so far, Larry Mack, and you might have noticed he keeps kind of peeking out, getting a little bit of cool air into that radiator. Jeff telling Robbie Loomis, his crew chief, the temperatures are starting to climb. He keeps trying to peek out to cool off that radiator and that engine. Now keep an eye on when this team pits in about 7 laps. They may pull some tape off that grill.
Well, I was just going to say, we are about a third of the way through this race, and we're then about 4, 5, 6 laps of our first green flag stop. And Jeff Hammond, you've been here many times before. What's going on pit road right now is teams trying to make deal, find out if their partners that they're drafting with are you going to change 2 tires or 4 tires.
Turn 4.
Caution is out, though.
Ward Burton has blown up.
And just remember, that motor got awfully hot earlier in the race when he was running warm.
4th caution of the day at lap 67 in a race that's already had 22 lead changes among 15 drivers. Jeannie, please.
Well, guys, catching up with Matt Kenseth. I'm listening to you as you're driving in. I'm listening to the radio, and even at that moment, you're not wanting to give up. You're asking, is there a chance that we can go back out? But obviously, you're done for the day.
Yeah, something happened to the engine. I think we maybe burned a piston or hurt a piston somehow or something, and it blew up. So it's unfortunate. I feel real bad at first wreck. That could have been major. I'm glad I didn't mess up too many people's days, but that was at least 90% my fault. I tried getting behind Kurt and pushing Kurt, and I was too close to Kevin and got in his door and spun myself out. So I feel bad about that, and I'm thankful that no other cars really got wrecked too bad.
Any warning this was going?
I just missed a little bit right here, just like we did last year. Here we were running 3rd or 4th, and the motor blew up. So we were about at the finish line, and it had a little burp to it, and then I just pulled off to the bottom, and it blew up. So the motor program's been really great. We got awesome power this year. It's been really fun to drive these cars. We're just going to have these problems now and then.
Used to seeing the defending champ top 10, not today.
Well, Matt Kenseth 2 races ago was the point leader. He's going to leave here about 150 points out of the lead. Ward Burton had finished 12 races in a row at Talladega coming into this one.
And I know that's a single car team right there, but remember, that is a Hendrick engine, and when one lets go like that, the engine guys get a little nervous about the rest of it.
Ward Burton brings out the 4th caution of the day at Talladega. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. 4th caution of the day at Talladega. Michael Waltrip leads everybody down pit road for stops. Matt?
Jeff Gordon makes his way in. Look for them to pull. As they do, Curioni pulls a piece of tape off the grill. 4 tire change for Jeff Gordon, no adjustments on the 24, Steve.
Matt Kevin Harvick says his car is fast. He's going to take 4 tires, no other adjustments for Harvick. Meanwhile, Michael Waltrip, they had contemplated 2 only, but they will take 4. Robbie Gordon will take left sides only. Dick.
Junior's going to take 4 tires as well. He has not said anything at all today about the handling of his race car. His conversation has been exclusively about what other people are doing on the speedway. Slow in the left rear corner. Very slow in the left rear corner. Lots of folks beat Earnhardt out.
He comes out about 9th, Dick. 37 lead lap cars make pit road a congested place. There goes another tire out in front of Kenny Schrader, and Biffle just misses it. There's the race off pit road.
And the reason those times vary so much is what I'm seeing. Half the guys are changing 2 tires, half the guys are changing 4 tires. If your car's not right, 4 tires is definitely the way to go, especially with this tire combination.
I'd get me 4 under caution always, in case I have to take 2 or none under green.
Especially this part of the race.
Yeah, this would be a great time to. You got to think about what you're going to do if the green flag stays. You got to make a green flag pit stops.
Elliott Sadler's crew is going to lose one that rolls gently and gets a little help from Kerry Earnhardt.
Okay.
Helped the wrong way.
Greg Biffle in a 16 almost getting it, but Jeannie, I think we're the man that had rebounded nicely, but it just didn't work out.
Absolutely looked to be a promising day for Ward Burton. What happened out there?
I'm not really sure. The motor's been running a little hot in a draft. Took all the tape off of it. Took a little bit of the ability for the car to suck up away, but still Net Zero Chevrolet is running well. But Hendricks normally does a great job in the motor. For some reason or another, we're having some trouble today.
And Ward normally doing a great job here. He was the owner of the longest active streak at Talladega without a DNF. That ends today at 12. Chris?
Thanks with Jeff Hammond of the Hollywood Hotel. Dale Jarrett, the leader at the moment of those recent pit stops, Jeff Hammond. Dale Earnhardt Jr. of those top 5 that were recorded. He had the longest stop at 18.4 seconds.
Well, looking there on the replay right there, I got an opportunity to see they definitely had a problem with the left rear tire changer. That's where all the problems at.
Now, we've seen a number of leaders, more than, 21 so far. So drivers cycling from the back. And what's the pace for this?
I think right now we're seeing a very competitive field. For one thing, we see the guys like Dale Jarrett. He led back on lap 36 and got shuffled all the way back to about 40th. So to see these cars being moved front to back, a lot of guys giving and taking. They know they've got fast race cars, but as we get later on in the race, it's going to get more intense yet. So you're going to see a lot more guys probably beating and banging. We've already seen it early on, but I look forward to pick up even more.
Yeah, let's check on Junior's pit stop. Dick Berggren has more. Dick?
Well, I talked to the rear tire changer, Shannon Myers, and he said one hung. And what that means is that one of the 5 lug nuts did not release when he thought he had them all loose, so he tried to pull the wheel away from the hub. The wheel didn't come from the hub. He had to go back on again with the impact wrench, get that last lug nut, and pull it off. He came into the pits 9th, went out 15th as a result, Chris.
All right, Sean Myers, no relation here. You're watching NASCAR on Fox, 500 miles at Talladega, speeds up to 199 miles per hour. We'll be back here in just a moment.
We're under the 4th caution of the day. 71 of 188 laps are complete at Talladega. 15 different leaders, 23 lead changes. The record for lead changes here, 75 in 1984. Let's get a WebMD safety report from Jeff Hammond.
Last year at Michigan, Ryan Newman experienced the driver's worst nightmare, a cockpit fire due to an engine failure where you had oil coming up underneath the car, around the car, and causing flames to come inside the cockpit with him. And you will see he got out of the car, but again, it was a very scary situation. He could have gotten hurt very seriously. Well, this year, they've got a new product that's come out that may help prevent a situation like that. This is the shifter boot that burned. Well, this year they've got a new product called TPR2 that you can coat the inside of this shifter boot to prevent it from burning or letting heat come inside, or you can do your oil lines or even the front part of the firewall. It's a new, not only fire suppressant, but a heat barrier to go with it. In this demonstration, you can see oil is ignited at 500 degrees and poured on an untreated part of material, it burns. But when it's poured on the treated part of this firewall with TPR2, you can see it goes out immediately. Even when we try to restart it with this blowtorch, it wouldn't do it. To me, this right here is very impressive and very safe for a lot of drivers. Kyle Petty is actually running this product today, and I'm going to be really surprised if I don't see a lot more teams switching to this new product for driver safety, because that's what it's all about when it comes to NASCAR racing.
For your chance to win tickets to races here or Daytona next season, visit drive.webmd.com.
And Darrell, I think fire is the biggest fear of any driver.
Oh, it is. And I love all the technology, all these new products that are coming out that are making our sport so much safer.
And DW, I could not impress upon you enough that this is exactly what so many drivers need as far as around the cockpit area. We've seen Hermie Sadler got burned earlier last week at Martinsville, Virginia. And you know, heat inside his cockpit, if you can do anything to keep more comfortable for the driver, it's going to be better for them.
38 cars on the lead lap. Joe Nemechek got the free pass on that caution. And Robbie Gordon is going to lead Michael Waltrip, Kevin Harvick, and Jeff Gordon to the green flag.
Looked like Michael lagged back just a little bit, Darrell, tried to get that run on the high side, but in turn, he's going to lose that position to Kevin Harvick in the 29.
Yeah, he ran up on the 31 car so fast, he had to lift a little bit, and here comes Kevin.
We need to add
slot back in fifth.
Add to our victims of pit road accidents. Kenny Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield got together on that last pit stop. Both of them had to come back in for repairs.
Now, during the caution, we listened in to Stevie Reeves, spotter, talking to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Hey, right when that caution come out, Stuart Spotter was down here, was asking if you wanted to run the bottom. He was going to let you in. He wanted to start working with you. They said he was asking where you were so you guys could hook up together.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be in line. I'm tired of it. I want to have some
fun. He's having fun right now. Dick Berggren has more.
Yeah, there was more conversation during that caution as well. Junior trying to hook up on the radio with Michael Waltrip, his teammate. He wanted to tell Michael that it'd be kind of neat if the two of them could talk while they're running around here at 190 miles an hour. He said, you know, doesn't bother me any at all if you want to do that. I just want to have some fun. Second time in that conversation, he said, I want to have some fun. Most important, Waltrip's crew got the information to Earnhardt that Waltrip can run anywhere on this racetrack and be fast. High, low, in the middle. Junior said, that's good. I think a plan was just hatched.
I think you're right. And yesterday, Dale Jr. was talking to Martin Truex, his Busch driver, and they were kind of concocting a plan of what they wanted to do. I think that's a great idea for teammates to talk to each other during the race.
I know at one time the Hendrick cars had a channel where the three drivers could talk amongst each other, usually under caution.
You know, just to update our pole sitter, we're riding with him right here, Ricky Rudd. The 21 car started on the pole about 30 or 40 laps ago, cut a tire down under green, had to make a green flag pit stop, went more than a lap down. He got the free pass. Now he's back up here in 12th position. Good rebound.
Watching from Rusty Wallace, last week's winner on the short track at Martinsville, Virginia. What a contrast, Gerald, to go from the shortest bumping and beatingest track to the fastest white knuckle track. Does it take you 5 days to adjust from one to the other, or do you just hop in and go?
Well, this is more nerve-wracking. This is more mental. Martinsville's physical, and you got to really work hard at Martinsville. It's very exhausting. Here, when this race is over with, you'll have the worst headache you'll have in a long time.
Rusty qualified back in 32nd position. Very disappointed with that qualifying run, but I talked to Larry Carter, his crew chief, this morning. They said they've got this car driving good. Rusty has competed in 41 races here, 65 restrictor plate races, 0 in the win column.
He doesn't really like for us to point things like that out. You know?
Well, I know he don't.
And I think that 105 thing, you know, is starting to get on his nerves.
We can't talk about it anymore.
Rusty working inside Wimmer will go up toward the front where Robbie Gordon leads Jeff Gordon. Right behind the Gordons, who are not related, by the way, nor are they related to Chris Myers, is the 15 of Michael Waltrip. For more on Michael, here's Steve.
And Mike, just wanted to follow up on what Dick Berggren just said about radio communication between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip. Unfortunately, they're having radio problems here in Michael Waltrip's pit, so they do not have the ability to talk to each other. But Slugger Labby, the crew chief for Michael, can relay any information that Michael needs.
Boy, I'd hate to be that'd be the Slugger, be the interpreter for all of that.
Oh, inside line slowed up there in the middle of the backstretch, right in mid-pack from about Tony Stewart on back. Tony and Mark Martin somehow got shuffled back about 4 rows there.
I tell you, a guy that has an impressive run going, Jeff Burton, back there qualified back in 25th. A lot due to his crew chief Bob Osborne making some pit strategy, and here he's up there running in the top 5. Gets a sponsor for about 4 races, Scott's Roundup, and having a good run here so far.
one of his collaborative teammates, the Wood Brothers 21. It's not part of the Roush organization, but they do get chassis and engines and engineering support from the Roush group, alongside as Jeff Burton puts Robbie Gordon not into the weeds, but just back one spot. Okay, Kurt Busch is just ahead of them in the 97. Now, wait a minute. I know he was 20th a lap ago, Jeannie. Right now he's 5th.
Yeah, it's quite incredible, especially considering that Kurt has not really been happy with his car most of the day. It's kind of a recurring theme here in the 97 pit that the car is just dragging. Busch saying he's not happy with the gear selection. It's nothing mechanical. He's just not happy with the one that they went with. Also not happy with the recent contact with the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. He hit the right front fender. I guess the good news is he basically just bruised the Goodyear a little bit, but the car is doing well, as we can see.
I tell you, we got a battle up here for this lead right now. Kevin Harvick just took the lead away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon. Now Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car got kicked to the high side with not a lot of help. Goes back to the 5th position, but Dick Berggren, he'll be back up there.
Yeah, he will, Larry, but he needs to keep the nose of that car clean. Earnhardt just got on the radio, said 250, 250. Engine running hot. To Matt.
Dick, Jeff Gordon 4 laps ago told his crew chief Robbie Loomis, when we get into our final run, when we're done pitting and we're going to make the chase for the finish, let me know so I can start to plan my moves and get myself in position. Also, take a look at the 24 and 48, almost identical blues. That's why spotter Ron Thiel, as Gordon works the bottom, had extra neon yellow tape put on the spoiler, the valence, across that shark fin panel coming down across that left rear glass, just so he can see that car a lot easier, definitely up off of 2 and down the backstretch.
Dale Earnhardt can see it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. can see it right out his left side window, and now puts it in his rear view as Michael Waltrip and Jr. are coupled together.
Yeah, they got the push there coming off at 2. That high line is really creating a lot of speed for those cars that are getting up there.
Just look at the top 6 right there. You've got 2 DEI cars, 2 Childress cars, and 2 Hendrick cars.
Importantly, Larry, they're all Chevrolets, and Chevrolets have won the last 10 races here at Talladega and have led all but less than 20 laps today.
Always dominant here.
Drivers are talking about the run to the finish, and we're not even halfway. 81 laps complete of 188. As Tony Stewart works the bottom on Casey Mears, Kenny Wallace, and that's Brian Vickers in the 25 just ahead from Kenny Wallace. A look to the inside.
And remember, he came to pit road on that last restart, had to right before that last restart. He was back there at about 37th. Here he's up to 14th. Remember, this is a DEI engine in this car.
That's cool. There's just no other sport that can show you that in the heat of competition.
Oh, no. Sheet metal flapping in the wind, people bumping into each other, parts flying everywhere.
At 195 miles per hour.
And the guys are saying they're having fun.
Here comes the Pied Piper again.
I love that. 27 lead changes. The record of 75 could be in jeopardy, especially if this keeps up. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. In turn 3, a huge multi-car crash, and they are still piling in. There's Kenny Wallace down on the apron. Derek Cope, Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace among those involved. Rusty getting a push from Terry Labonte.
Man, look at Kurt's car.
Trying to get out of the grass there. Kurt Busch's car is well wrecked, and we are under caution. There is Scott Riggs. The rookie had a great qualifying effort. He started 5th today, and on lap 84. Oh, Casey Kane.
I mean, guys, I see a lot of our guys top 10 in points, like Kurt Busch came in here 2nd in points.
And the word is that thus far, everybody is okay. And we talk a lot about the big one, and we've just had it, but Darrell, since NASCAR took a proactive stance on driver safety in 2001, we've not had a serious injury in the big one. What triggers this?
Let's see what happened over here. Yikes. Looked like it, the 20 car made some contact with the 97 getting into 3 over there. And boy, you can see the results.
And Darrell, that happened down low. A lot of those cars were going high, but Kurt Busch went up the racetrack right there. That got about 6 or 8 of them.
Took a pretty hard lick, too. Looking down to the inside, just
Just that
not quite enough. Not quite enough room there, buddy.
And up he comes. There's Riggs getting tipped down to the apron, and everybody just swallowed up as those 33-degree bankings clean themselves of cars. They slide down into those who were trying to take evasive.
Saw Kenny Wallace in the 0-0 car hit that outside wall very hard. Remember, they just installed the safer barriers here.
And just remember, what goes up has to come down, and they go up, hit the wall, and then down the hill they come.
Riding with Jeff Gordon, it all happens behind him.
What's that? You know, the 97 just gets turned, man.
And first the top of the track clogs, and then the bottom. Rusty Wallace. Hit his youngest brother, Kenny Wallace.
Man, that was hard. And they're still piling in.
That's Casey Kane who just piled in. Let's ride with Casey Kane. That's Derek Cope just ahead.
That is a hard lift.
Oh, that one was really hard.
Couldn't see who that was, but we're about to ride with the pinball in all this, which is Kenny Wallace. Lights out. Preliminary indication is that 10 cars were involved in this crash in turn 3 at lap 84. The Wallace brothers, Terry Labonte, Casey Kane, Scott Riggs, Ryan Newman, Dave Blaney, Derek Cope, Kurt Busch. I guess we have to add Tony Stewart to that list, whose contact with the 97 ignited that pileup.
Yeah, it was ever so slightly, but when you're entering turn 3 over there and you just brush up against the guy that's in front of you, well, you see what can happen.
Now, all of those were lead lap cars.
You can see on Tony's car there is just absolutely very little damage. It was just a touch, but that's all it takes.
When you're running that fast, it don't take much at all.
And pit road is now open. Matt Yoakum.
24 car hits in the 5th position. No adjustments for both he and his teammate Jimmy Johnson. To Steve.
Matt, 4 tires for Kevin Harvick. No adjustments to that Chevrolet. He said, guys, I'm having fun out here today. Let's go to Dick.
Junior said when he got out of the draft that the temperature went right down to 250 degrees. There is now a rear view mirror on the B post of his car so he can see better from the cockpit. Virtually no tape left on the grill, so there's virtually nothing that they could do to help Earnhardt get that engine to run more cool.
You see right there on our race off pit road, looked like most of the cars, especially after that big wreck, decided to change 4 tires, but Frankie Stoddard with Scott Wimmer in a 22 car, they win the battle off pit road, changing just 2 tires.
Good strategy worked at Daytona. I don't know how to work here today, but it worked at Daytona for him.
It looks like Dale Jarrett in the 88 car, Mike Ford, decided to leave him out for at least 1 more lap where he can get 5 points for leading.
And among those who snuck through that crash, we saw Kenny Schrader and Brian Vickers shoot through the smoke and get by pretty much unscathed. A lot of cars going to be hauled back to the garage area after this one.
Back live at the Aaron's 499 here in Talladega following the big one. Kurt Busch involved in that. Let's check in with Jeannie Zalasko.
Well, guys, I guess the good news, Kurt Busch physically okay, mentally obviously upset right now. I'm listening to you with the one-word answers, trying to put on a good face and looking forward to next week, but I guess maybe a little frustration with the 20 car?
Yeah, we drafted down the front straightaway together real well, and all race I acknowledged he was on the bottom lane. That's cool, you know, we drafted together. I was going to call him on Monday. Dude, everything was great. I don't know why he committed to turn 3 as late as he did. He knew he needed to follow me, and now we're here instead of out on the track. It's a bad finish. So far this year, our 2 worst finishes are on restrictor plate races.
Thank you for the time.
Jeannie, a winner last week at Martinsville. Rusty Wallace not going to make it 2 for 2. Rusty, what happened?
Oh, there was just a big pileups, all there was to it. Everybody was really, really running close. There was a lot of bumping and banging out there. A lot more banging than I've seen here in the past. You know, this is always a nail biter, no doubt about it, but a lot of bumping and banging, and I guess somebody tagged somebody and turned them sideways, and I was all the way up top of the racetrack. I had a good car. You know, I took a couple times, ran it up front, but I was just kind of hanging out on top of the racetrack because I was just tired of getting in that mess, you know, and the top lane, after a while, I just couldn't make much ground, so I moved down to center, started trucking forward, and that particular lap, I moved back up to the top, and when the wreck happened, I was 3 wide and couldn't get back down.
How different the racing compared to Daytona with this same package?
Oh, the racing is much, much different here. At Daytona, the cars get away from each other. You know, the tires wear, handling really gets into it, but everybody's cars are handling here, and they're all on top of each other, to bumper, but man, I just couldn't believe how forceful everybody was getting. There was a lot of people running into each other. There's cars running really, really good. They'd come by me, and their right sides are tore off, and noses are tore off, and they're still bashing into people. But it's an exciting race for the fans, but I'll tell you what, for a driver, it's not too much fun out there, I'll tell you that. And I hate that our cars tore up, although we're able to drive it to the garage. They're getting the left front fender on it now. We're going to get back on and get some points.
Thanks, Rusty. Mike?
Of the 11 cars involved, the only one able to continue after brief repair is Terry Labonte. That'll leave us 31 cars on the lead lap. Jeff Burton was really frustrated at what happened. We listened in.
Big time, big time. Do something about that. They need to do that. Is ridiculous right there. He just freaking wrecked it. I mean, he wasn't even, that wasn't even close. He just turned and made it 3 wide and just wrecked him. That's pathetic.
Burton supporting Kurt Busch's view of Stewart's late commitment to the bottom in turn 3. NASCAR has admonished the 20 team and told them to be less aggressive.
That don't make those other 10 cars feel better about it.
We restart with 31 cars on the lead lap. Scott Wimmer, the rookie, driving in his second Talladega start for Bill Davis, and the Cat Dodge is our leader.
See, this is one of those places where one guy's mistake affects a lot of people. It's not like it's just you and the guy you ran into. It takes out so many others.
And we talked about that in the opening, Darrell. You know, as you say, one driver's mistake.
Matt?
Mike caught up with Casey Kane. You're okay, but boy, a very scary and frustrating incident.
Yeah, just, I don't know, it happens here. It's too bad because we had our Dodge dealers, UAW Dodge was a good car. We were right in the middle of the pack all day, and it sounds like Stewart started it all. And he started a lot of things this year, so I guess.
Your mentor.
I don't know about that. I don't drive like that.
He came in the day 9th in points, going to take another hit for the 2nd straight week, Jeannie.
Well, Kenny Wallace looking at a notebook, and I guess you like the numbers that you see there because you saw where the car was going. I guess the frustrating point now is where the car is at. And frustration, I guess, with the 20 car as well?
Oh, you know, I'm sure, I didn't watch Kurt Busch's interview, but I'm sure he probably spoke for us all. You know, Tony Stewart's a very good friend of mine, so I plead the, what is it, the 5th?
The 5th, my friend.
I plead the 5th because I like Tony Stewart, but, you know, just antsy. And I hate it for Ken Butler and everybody at Aaron's lease. Aaron's dream machine, it was almost a dream weekend, but it just turned out really wrecked. So we'll go on to the next race.
All right, glad to see that you are safe. And speaking of safety, Jeff has more.
Well, the reason why we can talk to these drivers after a wreck like you just saw a minute ago is because of the safety NASCAR is building these race cars. The structure from the roll cage, the 1 3/4 tubing that surrounds the driver's cockpit, all the way up to the cockpit itself, the special seats, the headrests that now keep that neck and head inside the seat and cockpit area, all the way up to the helmets and the head and neck restraints. It's all built to where we can take these drivers out of these wrecked race cars and have an opportunity to find out what really happened.
Yeah, and the other part, Jeff, is the safer barriers. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world.
Especially on that hit like Kenny Wallace took in that 0-0 car.
3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide.
4 wide. Whoa.
They have a very short memory, don't they?
Now, this is 1 lap after NASCAR got on the radio, admonished all the teams to tell their drivers to settle down.
You can't here.
No.
There's no settling down here. I mean, you got to stick it in there
See the two Ganassi Dodges up there running side by side for second place. They're trying to contend with these top 4 or 5 Chevrolets.
And I got to tell you something, that 33 car, I don't know where he came from. He made it through that wreck, and here he is up there. He's pushing his brother right now, and that'd be Kerry Earnhardt in Childress's car.
I was going to say how strong that the Childress cars have been today, and that's the 4th Childress car in this race.
He's going on up through there, buddy.
Looking back from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Outside, out.
And his older brother, Kerry.
Ooh, he gets tight right here, boys. Slipping and sliding. Give me some room.
Darrell, there's no gimme. There's just take right here.
Yeah,
just take.
Yeah. No, you're at the mercy of the people around you. You know, everybody's just. Kerry just knocked Dale Jr. into the lead.
And remember Joe Nemechek, the free pass car? Look, he's up top. He's up there fighting for the lead.
A lot like Ricky Rudd had that cut tire under green and went over a lap down.
It proves you cannot start or restart too deep in the field here to not have a chance to get to the front.
29 car Kevin Harvick is a strong piece too, Larry. He's been able to drive by Dale Jr. a couple of times. He got McMurray right there pushing him.
Yellow is out.
I think someone lost part of a tire. There it is right there. There we see it.
Lap 92 closing in on halfway. That tire debris brings out the yellow, and just in time, I think, Darrell.
We're going to have a lot of debris cautions, I'm afraid.
Genie with the rookie who qualified 5th and won't see 5th at the finish.
Well, Scott Riggs will take all the cautions he can get right now. Just keep delaying this thing, right? Let's keep waiting. Let's wait. You're being serenaded by drills and hammers, so a good chance to get back out.
Yeah, we're going to try to. Just hate it for all the guys on the Valvoline Chevrolet. All those guys back in the fab shop did an awesome job building us 2 great cars today, and just hate we got into it. I was doing a lot of giving out there, a lot of people taking a lot of risks, and I was just trying to keep the fenders on it and see the end of this thing, and really wait until the end to do all my taking and have a good solid finish. And like I say, just hate it for all the guys because they did a good job on the car. Just saw the 97 car spinning down low. We were up top and we woed down, and I almost got stopped. I mean, I was just waiting for everything to sort of slide to the bottom and sort of self-clean the track, and somebody hit me from the rear and knocked me down the racetrack right into the mess. So just hate it. All the guys did a good job, and I know the guys back in the fab shop will build us another one to be even better.
This may not be a good time, but I got you here. Thumbs up or thumbs down on Talladega right now?
Well, I mean, a thumbs up, I think, because I had such a good car, and the guys gave me a great piece to race with. Thumbs up on the tires, even. I think we had a really good car, and we're going to be able to really show our hand on a long run, because a lot of cars started getting really tight, and you started having to get back to 2 wide. It was too hard to run 3 wide, and I was going to really, wait until the end of the race to do all my taking and make my move up there and have a good finish, and just trying to take care of the car and trying to take care of it. Somebody else got into me and couldn't do it.
All right, get back out there, gentlemen.
Jeannie, we're under caution for tire debris, but let's have a look at what happened between Tony Stewart and Kurt Busch right there.
I'm going to be like Kenny Wallace, and I'm going to take the 5th. But actually, Tony just stuck his nose in there and got into Kurt. That's what happened.
Was Kurt already committed to the inside when Tony stuck down there?
You can see that there's room for Tony to go there, but that's that give and take thing.
And everybody in front is going there.
They're going to go there. You just got to realize that and give them some room.
And see, Kurt Busch, again, was sideways down low, actually on the apron, and all those cars saw that. And I think a lot of them, including probably their spotters, telling them, go high, they get caught up in it.
Now this caution is for debris off Terry Labonte's car, one of the cars that was damaged in that accident, but continued. And there it goes.
It's only been 4 laps since these guys went back racing, and that last pit stop for everybody on lap 85 put them to where they could make it on 2 more pit stops, but I still believe we might see a lot of them come to pit road to at least fuel only.
But Darrell, let me ask you, when the caution comes out, does everybody get their game face back together and their tempers under control? Or do you sit there and simmer over what might have just happened in that last green flag run?
Kind of a combination of both. I mean, you're not just riding around right now. You're talking to your crew. There's a lot of things that are going on that we're not privy to. The driver's thinking about what he wants to do to his car. How are we doing compared to everybody else? So a lot of communication. And the crew really does a good job normally keeping the driver focused.
say. I think we'll see some of our guys at the very front of the pack since we've only been 4 laps of racing, since we are where we can make it on 2 more stops. I think we'll see some of those guys at the front stay out, but we'll probably see some maybe at the back at least come in for fuel.
Larry, are you at the stage in the race where now you're starting to wind the race from the checkered flag backwards?
That's exactly what I just did right here.
Yep.
That we were on pit road at lap 85, and this race is 188 laps, so that's 103 laps. I divided it up into 3 segments, so I can make it on 2 more stops, but it looks like most of them are going to come to pit road, but I about bet it'll be for fuel only with most of these guys.
Let's find out, starting with Matt.
And Jeff Gooch Patterson tight to the wall, waiting for Tony Stewart to come in, get a top off that car. The 24 car topping off as well, the 48.
Matt Kevin Harvick's going to get fuel, but he's also going to take right side tires on that Chevrolet, and he's away. Dick.
Junior and his crew were not going to pit him until they heard that everybody else was coming in. They decided they would do the same. They put fuel only in the car, and he is out.
Well, Dick, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit selection won him that battle off pit road. He has that very last pit leaving pit road, so he just had to move a little bit to win the battle.
Yeah, and you've got to come to pit road and put fuel in. You don't want to get hung out there and have to pit by yourself early because you need the draft to be able to keep up.
Jimmy Johnson got squeezed 2 wheels into the grass as 4 cars tried to get out of their pits simultaneously. But now everybody will line up so we can restart after this, the 6th caution flag of the day.
Welcome back to Talladega. The errand's 499. We're more than halfway. We've already had 19 leaders, 34 different lead changes, and caution flags. Flying left and right early, Ricky Craven with a broken rocker arm was out of the race. This was just a mini one with Matt Kenseth, the points champ from last year, tapping Harvick, spinning. Casey Kane also spinning. Jimmy Johnson had a tire problem after contact earlier with Jamie McMurray. Jimmy Johnson, one of the leaders earlier in the race. And Kenseth, who didn't lead, out of the race. So was Ward Burton in the 0 car, done for the day. And the big one on lap 84, Tony Stewart tapping Kurt Busch. 11 cars were involved. The Wallace brothers taken out, along with Ward Burton and Kurt Busch. And you heard the comments as the fans are rooting on maybe another Dale Earnhardt Jr. victory here. He is currently the leader with 91 laps to go. The comments that followed that big wreck, Jeff Burton saying that Stewart was out of line, Casey Kane saying that Stewart has started a lot of stuff this year, and others not wanting to comment, but it has left Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the lead. Mike?
Chris, 4 of the top 10 in Nextel Cup points coming into this race are out of the event, including the 2 Roush cars that occupied 2nd and 3rd, Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth. Rusty Wallace is out, as is Casey Kane. And there's where the rest of the point leaders are running right now, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading during the 6th caution of the day in the errands 499. Coming to the green after the 6th caution flag of the day, still 32 cars on the lead lap. Debris from Terry Labonte's cut tire put us under this caution. Earlier, an 11-car pileup at lap 84, all among lead lap cars. But now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to lead Jamie McMurray, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, and Kevin Harvick to the line. Green flag. Turn up that surround sound. We're going to crank it up for you. Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon with him. And they drop Dale Earnhardt Jr. back a few spots. Sterling Marlin coming too on the bottom with Michael Waltrip.
You know, Jamie McMurray's got to be thinking, hey, I'm doing something cool. I just passed Dale Earnhardt Jr., and that's pretty hard to do at Daytona and Talladega. But you heard Junior say he wanted to have some fun. Racing and passing is fun.
Right, riding around single file is not.
No fun. This is fun.
Well, it's no fun for the fans either. This is fun.
Junior likes to get out there and have a little fun, look around, and
look at him, zigging and zagging. He's having fun right now, especially looks in that rearview mirror, and they're about 3 car lengths back there.
Boy, they can close in a hurry, though, but when you get there, what do you do?
It's like a dog chasing a car, right?
Yeah.
Junior and Stewart finished 1-2 in the Daytona 500. Now they are 1-2 again here at Talladega. And Kerry Earnhardt's that black car on the outside coming.
Yeah, that thing has come alive here lately. He's been running right up here near the front, and I think he just kind of took it easy early on, not to get in any trouble. Now he's kind of standing on it. 7 of the last 10 Cup races at Talladega have been won by an Earnhardt.
And you know, this is only Kerry's second Nextel Cup start. Started a race back in Michigan in 2000.
Right, tried to make a couple of races earlier this season, but failed to qualify.
Well, I got to believe if, you know, this is a great opportunity for Kerry, and he needs to capitalize on this one.
Yeah, this is one of about 4 or 5 races he's going to run for Richard Childress in that 33 car.
That's log jam now. In front of him.
Is that what you call that, a log jam?
You could call it a log jam. Tightly packed is one of them. That's Jimmy Johnson in the 48 just ahead on the high side. Working with his mentor, Jeff Gordon, as Kerry Earnhardt comes alongside.
Car looks good, Larry. That 33, Kerry Earnhardt, he can go high, he can go low. Thing is coming around for him.
Yeah, this is one of the Childress cars that's never raced, but every time they go restrictor plate testing, this car has been there to do some development work.
Dick Berggren.
Well, I talked to Kerry Earnhardt's crew chief, Bobby Leslie, this morning and asked what the strategy was for this day. And Leslie said, just stay out of trouble. Worry about the race at the end. The goal, finish. Kerry Earnhardt is auditioning for a job. He lost his ride last year in the Busch Series. This is what he does for a living, drive race cars. He's hoping to do well enough today that somebody will spot him and hire him full time.
You know, guys, we watched Happy Hour practice yesterday, and one of the cars that I thought was very strong was Dale Jarrett in the 88 car. And we still have 85 laps to go, and I've been watching a group of cars back here. I've been watching Dale Jarrett, Ryan Newman, Bobby Labonte. They've been back at the back of the pack as we still watch the battle for third right here. They've been back there trying to stay away from the eye of the storm for this most part of this race, but I just wonder what they'll do later on in the race.
Trouble on Johnny Benson, who got turned around on pit road earlier. Now he comes past the pit exit. Looks like he's going to limp around to pit road. That's 2.5 miles away from where he is right now. Only 2 places you can stay out of trouble here, in the lead or in the garage.
Well, that's what Michael was telling me this morning. I said, how you going to do today, buddy? He said, if I can stay up front all day, I'll do just fine. Watch his 42 car get into 41.
Teammates.
That was big.
It's not team racing.
Now they're going to come back together again, and he clipped across in front of Tony's car.
How many times have we seen that go on today, and the next thing you see about 2 laps later is somebody come to pit road with a flat tire?
I know these cats race on their computers all the time. I wonder if they race on the computers making this kind of contact.
I tell you, I'm pretty impressed with Casey Mears, that 41 car, especially with the job that Jimmy Elledge and that group did on pit road repairing the nose of that car.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of scuffles and still is a top 10 car.
Look at that car. It looks like a Martinsville car. It's beat up on both sides and on the nose.
Larry, they all do. Just about.
Those first 2 don't. They've been pretty clean.
How about the tape on that grill? That's for corrective measures, but hopefully Mears is getting enough air to the radiator and oil cooler.
Now there's the group I was talking about a while ago while all that action was going on. Dale Jarrett in the 88, Bobby Labonte 18, and also Jimmy Spencer back there in the 4. You see Kyle Petty in the 45. These guys have been running right at the back of the pack all day long.
And that's typical Dale Jarrett here. I've seen him fall all the way to the back of the pack, kind of ride around back there for most of the race, but then with about 25 to go, he steps it up a notch.
Steve Burns.
And Mike, I can add to Dale Jarrett, that's exactly what he said early in this race. He called his team and said to crew chief Mike Ford and the guys, he said, hey, look, I'm just going to hang near the back. When it's time to go, I'm going to go. They played it very conservatively. As Larry Mack pointed out, staying out to lead a lap and even pitting out of sequence to avoid any messes on pit road.
Not a bad strategy, Darrell.
No, it's a great strategy. The only problem is if when things happen in front of you, you got to deal with them.
You know, it's taken about 100 and something laps for this to go on right here. Remember, we talked to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the pre-race about it. It looks like these teammates have finally found one another, and for the time being, content to run right where they are. We know we've got 2 more pit stops coming at least.
Yeah, it just seems like, though, that any 2 cars get hooked up, they can blow by the guys going into the turns.
Right now, it looks like Robbie Gordon in that Singler car, the 31's is sitting duck. Looks like the inside line has lined up, and they're going to leave him. He's going to go from about 3rd back to about 8th or 9th.
Still at these speeds, there's as much tension right here. This is like a 3.5-hour episode of 24, which a show that has me on the edge of the seat, trying to watch Pete Sutherland get out of scrape after scrape on Tuesday nights on Fox. And that's not a promo, that's just appreciation. That's a great show. This is just as white knuckle for the folks that are in it and the folks who have to deal with it afterwards.
This wad right here as we ride with Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, that's about position 9 through 25th right there in about a second.
And just think, you're watching the guy in front of you, seeing where he's going to go. You're watching the guy behind you. You got a guy beside of you, and you got somebody trying to get underneath of you.
And if you goof, you got 12 guys going to run into you. Laps to go. 19 leaders have swapped the front spot officially back and forth 35 times thus far, and it's far from over. $112 laps of white knuckle racing. 76 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads his DEI teammate Michael Waltrip. Jamie McMurray is the leading Dodge in 3rd. Jeff Burton, the best Ford, back in 17th.
32 cars out on the racetrack right now, and 31 of them are on the lead lap.
In the garage, Crash, Kurt Busch, Kenny Wallace, Derek Cope, Casey Kane, Rusty Wallace, Scott Briggs, Dave Blaney, Ward Burton with engine trouble, Morgan Shepherd, Matt Kenseth, and Ricky Craven.
Boy, Robbie Gordon got in the back of Michael there and got him all loose and made the pass. It worked.
And Darrell, I talked to Donnie Wingo, crew chief for Jamie McMurray in that 42 car. They were not very happy with it.
Got one goes around.
I tell you, it looks like
I believe it's Kerry Earnhardt.
It is. And I believe everybody else will get by. I don't know how.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
7th yellow of the day at lap 114. The Bass Pro Shops tracker boat Chevy of Kerry Earnhardt.
There was a something was happening over there, bottlenecking everybody up. I'm not sure something happened in front of Kerry, and I think he got punted.
It was like a caterpillar, the way a caterpillar moves, Darrell. Something happened up front. By the time it bowed up and got back down, there was Kerry.
Yeah, we just had documented, I think, talking while we were at break, all 4 Childress cars, including Kerry Earnhardt in the 33, were running in the top 8.
Let's see if we can see what happened here, because I think you'll find that somebody back here, or somebody up here in the front, slows down. Or, there you go.
Michael.
There you go.
Michael came across.
Well, he got hit. He got hit by the 16. Greg Biffle got into Michael, and quite honestly, Kerry hadn't been there. Michael was going to go for a ride.
And they both came across the nose of it was either Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon.
If you watch this, it's 16.
Gordon.
He just gets in there.
Yeah, just right in front of Jeff Gordon, just clipped Michael's
Jeff Gordon,
left rear.
not. I'm sorry, it wasn't Greg Biffle.
And actually, Earnhardt straightened out Michael.
Yeah, that's what I say. If it hadn't been for Kerry being there, Michael would have been down in the dirt.
He was going to be in big trouble.
Yeah.
Everybody scatters, but no other contact. Earnhardt gets a pretty hard hit with the right rear into the inside retaining wall.
Boy, that's unfortunate for everybody.
And that could have been big once again. I mean, he was right there in front of about 15 to 20 cars coming at him.
And he just couldn't get it woed up before it hit that inside retaining wall.
Johnny Benson in 09, he'll get the free pass. All the cars are back on the lead lap again.
7th caution flag of the day in Talladega. This is NASCAR on Fox.
Back in Talladega, pit stops underway. Gasman Mike Mongo, his nickname, just made a wedge adjustment for leader Jimmy McMurray. Also an air pressure adjustment to try to free up that 42 car, Steve.
Matt, Jason Pulver and Clint Pittman changing tires on the 29 of Kevin Harvick. No other adjustments. 4 tires only for Harvick.
Key man on Earnhardt Jr.'s pit stop is Kevin Pinnell, the 7-year veteran. When he drops the jack, that's Earnhardt's signal to go. When he drops it, Earnhardt knows it's time that all 4 tires are on.
There's the race off pit road, and the quickest, Robbie Gordon, Michael Waltrip, and Ryan Newman.
And I think the reason we saw most of the leaders right here change 4 tires is this pit stop comes with 72 laps to go. This means everybody can make it from here on one more stop, running about 36 laps per run.
Let's have another look at what triggered this 7th caution flag of the day that sent Kerry Earnhardt into the wall.
Michael's up high and he's got the 24 under him, and Michael just comes down right here in front of Jeff, and Jeff clips him a little bit. Kerry is down there, and unfortunately for Kerry, he caught Michael and straightened him out, but sent himself into the outside or inside retaining wall there.
Yeah, Michael's about 3 or 4 inches from being completely clear.
There you see Michael in front of the Johnny Sauter AOL onboard camera. Michael just coming down, tipping Jeff Gordon, but Michael's car a bit out of control. Gets righted by Kerry Earnhardt. And now, with apologies to Brooks and Dunn, let's go to our own hard-working man, Jeff Hammond.
Well, this is a Visa race break, and what a better place to take a Visa race break than down here at the Visa Fun Bus. Hey, I'm kind of kicked back, got my feet here in the hot tub, enjoying some conversation with some of the race fans. It's a great place to watch the race, and that's what I like about NASCAR, is getting to great places. Back up to you guys in the booth. Eat your heart out, guys.
Well, you could win a trip with the Visa race bus to an upcoming race, and even a $10,000 Visa gift card. Log on to foxsports.com for details.
You know, I'm from Alabama and lived here for 20 years, and we have one word for Jeff Hammond like that. It's what we call a nicin'.
Yeah, well, that is not the first time that I've caught him in a hot tub like that. During a race is the problem.
On a Fox telecast.
Yeah, right.
And you notice he put his boots up there where we could see them. I wonder where the spurs are.
Nice boots, are clean.
I'm speechless, so I think it's time for us to take a pit stop or a race break or whatever you want to call it. Tell you what, 117 laps complete. Caution for this. We'll be right back.
Fox, glad to have you with us. It's where America gathers every weekend, and at the Talladega Super Speedway, we have 70 laps to go. And back from the hot tub.
Would you make me come inside for?
I'm glad you put your boots on.
Oh, I got my feet washed though, at least.
We have 1 to go before we restart. Robbie Gordon currently leading Michael Waltrip, but Ryan Newman up to 3rd. Dale Jr. is running 4th currently.
Well, as I like to say, it's showtime right now, Chris. With 70 laps to go, they got 1 more stop to go, so you want to get your car in position so you can keep up with the lead pack. You can't afford to get way back in the back. Now is when the things are really going to get interesting.
Alabama getaway. Let's get away to Steve Burns with his Craftsman adjustment.
Well, Chris, we've been hearing about tape and tape configurations all day. Down here in Casey Mears' pit, what they've done is actually taken a picture of the nose of the race car and taped it to the War Wagon, their pit box, so there's no confusion. If they call for a tape adjustment, they will also actually number the tape. They can refer to this, go over pit wall, take the tape off, and the adjustment has been made. Matt?
Steve, under that caution, Casey Mears told his spotter to tell teammate Jimmy McMurray that his car really pushes. Not meaning that it's tight, it means he can really push the car in front the way his car is handling. To keep that in mind, the 42 team debated, Mike, about whether to go no tires, 2 tires, or 4. They took on 4, but Ryan Newman, who's up in third, they took on left side tires because of the previous stop. They took on 4 to set themselves up for their final stop. They want to go rights only.
Dale Jarrett finishing up a late pit stop. He may not catch the pack before this restart. The pack is in turn 3. We listened in on Robbie Gordon talking with his spotter.
Now tell the 15 this time on the restart, I'm gonna gradually pick up the pace. Don't lay back.
Save all the gas you can here.
Yeah, it's what I was talking about, anticipating those starts. The last time Michael laid back and he made a run on Robbie when they got down into turn 1. What Robbie wants him to do is stay behind him and get them both going up, get them up to speed.
And of course, they're telling them to conserve fuel. They may be a little bit light on making those 2 36 lap runs. A lot of the cars must be, because we saw maybe about 10 cars come in and top off on 1 to go.
Dale Jarrett does just catch the tail end of the field as we get the green flag to complete 120 of 180 laps.
Well, Michael laid back.
Ryan Newman in third, Earnhardt Jr. fourth, Harvick fifth, McMurray sixth, Casey Mears, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, and Johnny Sauter, the top 10.
And just remember, wasn't that many laps ago we was talking about Ryan Newman in that 12 car. He was back there hanging out with Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett at the back of the pack. Here he is running up there in third.
Barry Earnhardt has gone to the garage. He's out of the race. Casey Kane, who was in the earlier 11 car crash, though, has returned to the speedway after making repairs.
Yeah, he's 35 laps down and Kerry's 6th down now, so he's going to have to run about 30 laps to move up 1 spot.
Like Michael jumped up in the high side trying to get a push from Ryan Newman in the 12. It looks like it may work. That outside line is moving as they come through the trial.
Whatever line Dale Jr. is in is moving.
Yes, sir. You'll see him now come to the front. I'm going to get down in the, not necessarily the closing stages, but the latter stages of the race. He's going to start showing his dominance.
About everyone has left Robbie Gordon on the bottom of the racetrack except for Tony Stewart in the 20 and Robbie's teammate Johnny Sauter in the 30 car. Another Childress car having a good run.
You know, Kevin Harvick's got a pretty good restrictor plate record. He's got, I think, about the best average finish of any of the guys that he's running against, even Dale Jr.
Biggest thing Kevin Harvick has, he's been running at the end of 47 consecutive races without a DNF.
Well, Robbie Gordon and that bottom line losing touch with the rest of the lead pack here.
I'm going to tell you that 42 and 41 hooked up together look pretty good, Larry. You heard Casey Kane tell Jamie McMurray in the 42 car, I'm a good pusher. Well, he's pushing him right on up there.
And we, once again, like a while ago, and a lot of times during the race, we got all kinds of teammates hooked up. 2 Ganassi cars, 2 Hendrick cars, and then the 2 DEI cars on the bottom side.
For more on those Ganassi teammates, here's Jeannie.
Yeah, it is interesting, guys, though, when you listen from behind the scenes, you listen to the radio, and I guess one guy's idea of teamwork may be different than another. It wasn't that long ago that Mr. Ganassi did have to get on the radio and kind of explain to everybody what working together meant, because the 41 of Casey Mears didn't feel like he was getting the love that he should be getting from the 42 car of Jamie McMurray. Interesting, though, guys, as we do watch the tire changes with the pit stops, the 41 car has stopped 7 times. Every time but one, they have taken 2 tires, obviously rotating right side, left side, and they're believing that's what's keeping them up in front of this thing. Guys?
You know, the most unusual thing I'm seeing is the fact that even with these smaller fuel cells, for these cars meant to pit more often under green, and a lot contributed to the 7 cautions, we've had no green flag pit stops. We've been close, but we've had none so far, about 2/3 of the way through this race.
Now, the spacing of the 7 caution flags have prevented the need for a green flag stop.
Now, our 2 guys from Daytona, Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart, Dale Jr. was up there in the front of the pack. He slid back. It's almost like he's sliding back to find Tony to get hooked up with him to come to the front.
Side, 20's coming.
Dick Berggren?
Well, he certainly isn't sliding back deliberately, Darrell. What he said when this all began and he was running and he was out there all by himself for the 15 car, his teammate Michael Waltrip, but that big line was on the outside, and one by one, they just went on by Earnhardt. He's gotten shuffled all the way back. Now he has to find some friends and get back up front, and he probably will.
And Dick, let me tell you who's really shuffling in the back. It wasn't but about 2 or 3 laps ago. He was leading this race. Robbie Gordon in the 31 car. He's been kicked back to 24th.
A lot of movement. Johnny Sauter, who was 10th, is now 20th. Junior is back to 16th. He was leading a couple minutes ago. If you leave your TV set, folks, don't go away for long. You won't have any idea where everybody went.
And the ticking you hear is that we're running out of time.
Yeah, it's not the grandfather clock this week,
right.
but it's making the same noise.
Intensity will pick up. Yeah, I wouldn't go rodeo when this goes over for nothing.
Tell you what, Ricky Rudd, our pole sitter in that 21 car, he knows the clock's ticking. Remember, at the beginning of the race, had a flat tire early, got a lap down, got the free pass. He's up here battling back in the top 5. We're riding with him right now.
Well, you take drivers like Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, and Rusty, if he was out there, they would have laid back most of this race, kind of letting it come to them, and then when it's time to go, they got the car to go with. Ricky Rudd hadn't beaten his car up.
No, Jamie McMurray pulls this group back up on the inside with Harvick and Junior.
I don't believe he was pulling. I think he was getting pushed pretty hard up through there.
That's okay. 21 different drivers have led this race going past the start-finish line. 41 lead changes.
So Nemechek's up in the hunt here now with the 01 car.
Boy, Jeff Gordon had an almost against the bumper of Greg Biffle there. Almost. Here comes Biffle back at him. Falls in line.
Rusty just came out of the pits, back out on the track. Got his car repaired, and so does the 10 car. Scott Riggs comes back out.
Jeannie?
Well, the name of Greg Biffle came up, and he's been fighting water temperature problems all day. They've been taking tape off, putting water in, not sure of the problem. They're not sure if it's something with the fan or with the water pump. The plan is pretty much to kind of hang back, try to stay out of trouble and save it, especially after what happened to the other Roush car here today, the EP17 car, Matt Kenseth. The last thing they want to do is watch their engine blow, so basically they're going to them till the end, and then they don't have to worry about the end once it's over.
4 wide into turn 1. Robbie Gordon on the bottom. Everybody upstairs. Catch your breath. Show you what happened a moment ago with Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, and Ryan Newman. Watch the 12 of Newman.
That's it. Excuse me. Pardon me, sir. Could I just squeeze in here? Thank you.
And as long as we've seen so many times during this race, they don't cut a tire down by doing that. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, but no fun either.
I don't know about the foul part. I'm thinking that the 12 probably going to throw a flag on him.
60 laps to go this time.
Did we mention that Dale Jr. fell back to 23rd and he's coming up there to take the lead again?
And it doesn't surprise you by any chance.
We heard him say he's tired of staying in line. He wants to have some fun.
Definitely, when you pass a lot of people at Talladega all by yourself, that's a lot of fun.
McMurray and Johnson trying to get away from the pack. Having a little luck then.
Oh, it's temporary. Feels good while you're doing it, though.
But you know, I was saying a while ago, I think before we had a problem, Donnie Wingo told me this morning on that 42 car, they were so disappointed in their qualifying run on Friday. This car was a brand new car, untested, but had been in the wind tunnel a lot. He said the good thing about our car, he was happy with the way that car was driving yesterday in happy hour, and it's backing it up here today.
Chevy leading. The best Ford in the race is 7th, and the Dodge front runners are Jamie McMurray in 2nd, Sterling Marlin in 5th, and Casey Mears in the top 10.
Sorry, Mike. 48 car was sliding right up in front of Nemechek, and I didn't know if there was going to be enough room there or not.
There wasn't, then suddenly there was.
And Nemechek allowed that to happen. You kind of give the guy, you know, the guy in front of you is looking back, and you just kind of give him a little wave and say, hey, bud, I wouldn't do that again if I were you.
Still 20 cars within 1 second and 31 cars on the lead lap at Talladega. This is NASCAR on Fox. Interstate aerial coverage showing you that at Daytona, if one car is outside a single car draft, we call it hung out to dry. But now we have cars hung out of a double wide draft hung out to dry. And the leader, Jimmy Johnson, at 133 laps earlier, he cut down a tire, but as we've said all day, you cannot start or restart too deep in the field to lose your chance of leading here. Johnson leads Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. As our Gillette Young Guns run in this Concrete Turbo Champion invites you to enter the Gillette Young Guns Challenge. Go to GilletteYoungGuns.com for details.
You know, Mike, Larry, if you didn't have a dog in this fight, it'd be kind of fun to watch.
Right.
Oh, me.
Tell you what, the guy I'm impressed with is right behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. as we're riding with him. Well, now he's to the inside. Brian Vickers in that 25 car. They had a problem on pit road a while ago, and they restarted this race about 13 or 14 laps ago, just barely inside the top 20. He's worked his way in 13 laps up there to third and fourth.
Yeah, it's easy. It's just so easy to get to the front. You just draft off this guy, get in the middle, get in that lane, get in that lane. But when you get there, whether you got the power to stay or not, that's the question.
In fact, a lot of these cars I'm seeing up there, like Scott Wimmer, Brian Vickers, a lot of them came to pit road and stopped off. We had one to go on that last restart. They're up there in the top 10.
For more on Brian Vickers, Dick Berggren.
Well, Larry, he had done a long stop down here on pit road. Somewhere along the way in the battle, he got the left rear fender pushed in pretty well. So on that long stop, they took the left rear wheel off Vickers' car, jacked the car up, and pounded that fender back out so the aerodynamics would work a lot better. Looks like those aerodynamics are working pretty good right now.
Speaking of pounding.
Oh, yeah. Jamie McMurray just pounded his way right past those guys.
Wow. Those guys did a nice job of repairing that car because Brian Vickers right up there in the thick of things in that 25 car.
2x2x3, they come off the corner.
Looks like a pyramid coming at you.
Dale Jr. fell back to the back of this pack. Methodically, I might add, right back to the lead.
Tony Stewart in that 20 car, he had worked his way back to the pack. Here he is up in the top 5 working for the lead.
If I'm Jamie McMurray, I'm going to do everything I can to stay hooked to the back of that 8 car.
Gate cleared. Inside.
Man, look at that. Here comes Jimmy Johnson and his teammate right there, just right along beside of Dale Jr.
And that's the danger, getting out front by yourself, Darrell. You go from runaway leader to sitting duck in an instant.
The problem Dale Jr. has is no one can run with him. If there was somebody that could get up there and hang with him as fast as he is, but he gets out there, no help, and here the rest of them come with him.
Yeah, because his teammate Michael Waltrip, you see him right there in the 15 car behind the orange car of Tony Stewart in the 20. He has no help at all from him right now.
No, Dale Jr. can get the lead. If he had somebody that could get up there and help him stay there, he'd be hard to pass. But these guys gang up on him, and here they come.
Rusty Wallace's repaired car down at the bottom.
Uh-oh. Vickers has got smoked.
Yeah, tire rub on Brian Vickers.
That's bad news going in this corner.
Everybody tries to get away from him.
Well, we saw McMurray pounding on the back of his car. We heard he had a little damage on the left rear already. He's going to have to come to pit road.
And he had a tough time getting down there. Looks like he is going to make it.
Nice job. For a rookie, nice job.
Pit road, 4,300 second gear, 43 second gear.
Tough break, but nice he made it there. We've seen with Daytona and Talladega, 2 cars running in tandem are faster than any one car alone.
It sure appears that way, Mike. I mean, you look at Dale Jr., he got pushed to the outside. Everybody else is lined up in single file, and they're driving right by him. Now, he has to get back, regroup. So it's going to be a timing thing here at the end of the race. How far back do you get to make that run to the front to get to the checkered flag first?
And we know we have at least one more pit stop coming.
And then how far out front do you dare get to keep from getting inhaled like he just did and get knocked halfway to the back of the pack?
Yeah, it's going to be, you know, it's going to depend on who's behind me, what cars and what teammates are behind me.
Our NASCAR race menu brought to you by Wendy's Classic Hamburgers. It's better here at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Sunday, America's Best is California Auto Club 500 presented by Visa, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fox. 36 laps to go at the world's fastest speedway in front of the world's longest grandstand. Jimmy Johnson, one of 21 drivers to lead this race. Here are the ones that have led the most laps. We've had 45 lead changes so far. A long way to go, including one more pit stop.
Yeah, and that pit stop is going to come in about 7 or 8 laps, and we've seen so many situations happen on pit road. We know that you need a partner to come to pit road. Most of our guys got 4 tires a while ago. Jeff Hammond, I think I want to come. I want to make sure that thing's full of fuel. I want to make sure I don't pit with too many cars, and probably just going to get 2 tires on this last stop.
Most of the crew chiefs I spoke to earlier today, Larry, said the same thing. They want to get 2 tires full of fuel, and right now, looking at Kevin Harvick, looks like he may have a little bit of problem. Looks like he's moving the car around a bit. Maybe he's got a tire going down, but you really need to make sure that you don't come with a huge pack of cars. We've already seen all day long guys getting into one another, so you got to be real careful to choose the correct lap to come in.
He's got a right rear tire down. And again, we've seen a lot of cut down tires today, but because of all the contact that we've had on the racetrack, they're cutting down the lefts and the rights, and we've seen a lot of cut down tires today.
And the problem, he gets to pit road right now, which he's going to need to. It's 43 laps to go. He won't be able to make it on one more stop. He'd have to pit another time should we stay green, Steve Burns.
Larry, the problem we just heard on Kevin Harvick is he has fluid all over his windshield from something that's come from Joe Nemechek's car. He's having a hard time seeing.
Oh, you can see that.
You can tell that.
That's a mess.
But what he's going to try to do, he needs to try to ride it out to get to that window. I mean, how would you like to run 190 miles an hour looking out that right there? But he's trying to get to that window where he don't have to make an extra pit stop.
Well, if it got on his windshield, it must be getting on some others.
And now is that Nemechek that's dropped to the back of the pack as well. Way on the right of your screen.
Kevin will really be relying on that spotter.
Nemechek has blown up, we're told. Jeannie?
Yeah, gentlemen, it was just a handful of laps ago. He came on the radio and said it's starting to run a little warm. Crew Chief Brian Pemberton asked him just a little bit later, how is it right now? And he said it's getting hotter. And then just moments ago, he came on the radio and said it has blown up. The engine is gone.
Tough break for Kevin Harvick, who has to come to pit. Another car heading.
Someone else has lost a tire, but it is off the racetrack.
And it's Sterling Marlin.
We got a caution.
Caution is out. Caution is out. This is a big break for Harvick, especially because he was losing that lead pack.
I know now, when he was wobbling around, I thought it was because he had a right rear tire down. I know what he was wobbling around now, he couldn't see. He can't see anything.
Marlin's crew will change tires as he was able to get to pit road after losing that one.
And this could be a big break for Sterling. I think he was on pit road, already on pit road before the caution came out, so he actually probably may have the lead of this race when this is all said and done.
Yeah, I think he will, Larry. He was on pit road at the right time.
And Brian Vickers may be the recipient of the free pass under this caution period. The first car, in fact the only car, 1 lap down.
As long as you're already on pit road and the caution comes out, you can go ahead and complete your pit stop. It's not that you pitted too soon, but we'll have to see how NASCAR rules it.
That would give us 28 cars on the lead lap.
Another break for Brian Vickers in that 25 car, just like Ricky Rudd, just like Joe Nemechek early. Cut tire, 1 lap down. He'll be the free pass car now.
Here's what happened to Sterling Marlin to put us under caution for the 8th time today. Watch on the low side of the racetrack.
Yeah, you see him down there kind of wobbling around, and that rear tire came flying off.
Now we're still green until that comes down and comes to rest, and you'll see Marlin making a turn off toward pit road.
As he went by that light right there, it was still green.
Now let's clear up a little more confusion. Joe Nemechek's engine did not blow up. They have got him back on the racetrack.
Well, they probably put some water in it, try to cool it down, and the inevitable is inevitable.
See Kevin Harvick here on pit road. They pull a tear off. You don't have to clean it. You just pull that plastic tear off. It's like a brand new windshield. Sterling Marlin's back on pit road again, so whatever the case was, that strategy won't work. They look like they're going to go under the hood of that car doing some front end work.
And we're told Joe Nemechek's going to bring that car back around to the garage.
Looks like Sterling's running hot. They've got some quick disconnects on the radiator. Look like they may be doing what we've heard some other teams do earlier, get that hot water out, get some fresh cold water in.
40 laps to go at Talladega Superspeedway.
The big hole in the front of the radiator.
Oh, Tony Stewart, the leader, talking about Marlin's car, and he picked up debris from somebody else.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home and work on my cooling system before I go to Daytona in July.
Because it will be hotter down there, even though it's under the lights.
Brian Vickers.
I like it a lot. I get on the lead lap again.
And he has a pretty good car, so that's good news for him. Yeah, baby. That's one of those friendly 5-finger waves right there.
8 cautions today, 1 shy of the record. But 46 lead changes already, and we're far from done.
What's going to be interesting, pit road was still closed that time, so if it actually opens the next time by, that's going to be 39 laps to go. We're going to probably see a lot of cars have to come back in and top off, because there was cars that could not make it 38, 39 laps of crew chiefs I talked to this morning. Some could, some couldn't. 35, 36 was max on some guys.
You can race the pros. A lot of these drivers are video gamers. You can log on to foxsports.com and play Fox Sports Race the Pros. As we get set for what could be the final pit stop.
So we've got, with Vickers getting back on the lead lap, as we see Kevin Harvick in the 29 coming back to pit road. That'll be 28 cars on the lead lap. Now remember, Brian Vickers would be one of the cars that cannot come back to pit road and top off. When you get the free pass, you make your 1 pit stop, and that's it as far as fuel.
And Sterling is, I don't know if he's going to get his car fixed or not, but Larry, there's another guy that's up pretty good in the points. He's 14th, and looks like he's going to be possibly done for the day.
Had a great car going all day long.
I think they're waiting perhaps to move him to the garage, but don't want to do that until the cars complete the pit stops that are about to begin. Don't want him in anybody's way other than in his own pit box. Still 27 cars on the lead lap here at Talladega. As you see Sterling climb out, his day is over. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, 4 Chevys, then Jeff Burton's Ford in 5th, Robbie Gordon, Mark Martin, and Scott Wimmer. Here comes pit stops to Matt Yoakum.
Mike, on the turn 4 side of pit road, a lot of crew chiefs talking about coming back in to top off after they make this stop. No adjustments for the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, just 4 tires, like this car. The 20 car of Tony Stewart, no adjustments, just 4 tires as Jeff Gooch Patterson tries to pack that fuel cell full of fuel. The guy who was in 4th, Jeff Gordon, no adjustments either. The Steve Burns.
Matt Crew Chief Chris Andrews telling his boys on the 31 car, right sides and gas only. Dick.
Tony Eury Jr. has told his driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. that this will be the last stop. They originally had talked about a 2-tire change. They've got 4 on the car. Jr. gone, but the 20 car of Tony Stewart and Robbie Gordon have beaten him out of pit road.
Tell you what, Robbie Gordon, that 31 group, I mean, he had great pit stops yesterday, but I think it may be the same group that's pitting him.
They said it was. I think he only took 2 tires. I'm pretty sure he did.
But he did take 2 tires, but he's consistently beat everybody off pit road 2 or 4 tires.
Well, that's one way to put yourself in a position to win.
Thank
you very much. Off pit road.
It's the safest place to be.
And they're all coming into top off here at Talladega. 38 laps to go, and there's Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon, a lot of these teams right now coming in, they know they couldn't go the distance, so rather than being sorry, they're coming in here and topping these cars off and realizing they've got to run 36 more laps.
Sterling Marlin, who was one of the earlier leaders, now out of the race. In fact, the points picture will be shaken up because Matt Kenseth knocked out early, also Kurt Busch.
That's an interesting kind of scenario. Again, we saw just a few minutes ago Sterling Marlin, who was up there like 14th in the points, and he fell out with engine problems. And I think Jeannie Zalaska's with him.
And let's check in with Jeannie.
Don't blink, guys. You could miss something here. You came in with a tire problem, I guess, and then they found a radiator problem. Is that correct?
It got running hot about the past 10 laps, and I hadn't really just got to 230. It run 180 all day, and the shaker screen in front of the radiator, it come loose. Wasn't enough pop rivets gas and rubbed a hole in the radiator, and had a really good car, the Coors Light Dodge, and sitting there waiting to the end, and standing here now watching the end of it.
Thank you, sir. Heating up literally and figuratively, guys.
Well, we're into the 8th caution. That's one away from tying the record here at Talladega. We've had, checking the numbers, 23 different leaders, 48 different lead changes. We set the pace on that early, and I have a feeling there'll be a lot of changing before we see the checkered flag here today.
Just about count on that right now, Chris. What I'm seeing is the 4-car Jimmy Spencer, along with Robbie Gordon, elected to stay out, not come in and top off. So I'm really kind of curious to see what kind of strategy they're going to try to play out, because I still feel like the guy that's leading this race is basically a sitting duck. They're going to get ganged up on and passed before the end of the day.
Speaking of strategy, earlier Steve Burns, Darrell Waltrip discussing that of Dale Jarrett, who now is back up in the top 10. And his strategy from the beginning was to lay way back of the pack, wait until it was time to make the move. When is that time?
Now, you got to have to start getting a little bit more aggressive and stay up with these guys, because even though we only got 36 laps to go, all these guys are going to be very aggressive. As you see, a lot of other cars right now starting to peel off and come down pit road.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led the most laps today, 37. He's won 4 of the last 5 races here. Will he pull it out today? Tune in. NASCAR on Fox continues in Talladega.
"50 lead changes so far today. When Cale Yarborough won this race in 1984, the lead changed hands 75 times. Darrell, your 1977 win in this race, 63 lead changes.
It was a great race.
Especially the last.
Oh, it was really a good race.
Change,
yeah,
right?
I remember that one really well. That's the one when David Iff and Buddy Parrott would tell him how to get out of the lead.
36 laps to go. When they come back to green, it'll be 35 to go, Larry. Do they have enough fuel?
I'm going to say most everyone over the last 2 laps have topped off. The only car that has not is Robbie Gordon and Kenny Schrader in the 49 behind him. Greg Biffle pitted and popped off about 3 laps ago. Then Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car and 4th. Everybody from back has topped off.
Well, you got to believe that 31 car thinks he can make it, or there's no reason to stay out there.
Steve Burns?
Well, guys, down here in their pits, they think they can make it, but it's going to be awfully close. They think they can go the rest of the way.
And I'm sure they were banking on those caution laps that we just had leading up to this restart, helping them, because it's 2-to-1 ratio, 2 cautions to 1 green flag lap here.
Keep an eye on Kevin Harvick, who restarted 29th. Excuse me, restarted 24th. There are 27 cars on the lead lap.
Windshield looks a little better.
I can see clearly now.
That's actually
and remember, being back in the pack right now, single file, they're not going to make a lot of headway, but once they get up here and start racing each other, being back in the pack is not a bad thing if you can time it to get to the front with about 5 to go.
There is the windshield view after that tear-off was cleaned off. We don't have a tear-off for the roof cam, but that's what it looks out the windshield of the Goodwrench Chevy. Terry Labonte just in front. How about Kenny Schrader? The Schwann's Dodge sitting there in 2nd place, stayed out, excuse me, 3rd place, as here comes Junior once again.
Yeah, I think he's a sitting duck out in that outside line, even though he has Greg Biffle behind him in the 16 car.
It's a swan on the side, not a duck. But the result is the same.
The result is from 2nd to about 6th.
I think it's a swan.
Yeah,
Safe guess.
I think you're probably right.
Casey Mears works the high side. He's been up there a lot today, and now he's got help. Michael Waltrip jumps up top in that 3rd lane. Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes up to pick up his teammate and settles back down in the 2nd lane. Hey, Robbie Gordon's got a challenge on the inside. Here comes Jimmy Johnson with Jeff Gordon.
I mean, he was right on that left rear quarter panel.
But look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. He jumped to the high side once again with not a lot of help from anyone, trying to get some help from Kenny Schrader, the 49. And you see Michael Waltrip, the DEI teammate, trying to get in the picture as well.
Something I've heard Dale Jr. and I used to hear his dad talk about is side drafting. I've always heard of, bumper to bumper, but they talk about side drafting and how you pull down and get a draft off the car beside of you.
It'd be hard for these guys right here to side draft when you're 4 wide right there.
Johnny Sauter right in the middle of that 4 abreast group. Casey Mears gets a little squirrely. 32 to go, Matt.
Mike, I had a conversation with Tony Gibson from DEI on Friday. He said he's learned a lot working with the R&D team at DEI. He said during one test session, Junior told him that he will stick his hand out the window and just feel like if you're in your passenger car going down the highway, feel the change in the air pressure. That's when he knows he needs to make his move.
So you're running 190 miles an hour, and you got time to stick your hand out the window. Oh, my God.
I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't letting go of nothing, baby. No way my hand's going to get out the window. Somebody pull it out there.
Boy, did you see Jimmy Johnson in the 48 putting the block on Nate? Darrell, you talked about it in the beginning of the race, putting that block on him.
Yeah, you got to, he wants to try to hold Junior up as long as he can, and hopefully Junior will work with him. But I don't think Junior's going to work with anybody right now.
Unlike yesterday in the Busch race, where sticking to the bottom of the racetrack was the fast way around with that aerodynamic package, here the spoilers are different, and there is no one fast lane.
This right here, when he swings up on the outside, that's when you seem like you can really make a lot of time.
Looks like Jimmy Johnson right now, he's pretty much driving that race car through the rearview mirror in that 48 car.
We might talk to Chad Canals when the race over, we'll find out what's wrong with that car.
What about that car that won't run?
Yeah, it won't run a little.
It won't run. It's leading.
Jamie McMurray in the 42 car, he swung to the low side. Tony Stewart saw it looked like that line was going to move. In the 20, he moved down there with him.
Now, here's where, in my opinion, Michael and Dale Jr. really need to work together. Michael doesn't need to jump out behind Junior. He doesn't need to get under him. He just needs to push him. Because I think that's what Junior needs, is just somebody to go with him.
Well, they split Jimmy Johnson from his Hendrick teammate Jeff Gordon. Gordon got a little high. Junior and Waltrip got underneath him.
And you can see how they're leaving the bottom open, Jimmy is, but they don't have enough steam to get out there. Man, he's right on him.
Jimmy Johnson's the first car today that has prevented Dale Earnhardt Jr. from taking the lead.
I'm telling you, he is all over that back bumper.
Bump drafted through.
Look at the bumper. How he beat it in.
Back to you. He's got a big run on the high side.
Yeah, I wish we could look at the smile on both their faces. Well, one of their faces.
But Darrell, you know better than I just don't think Jimmy Johnson can open that door any at all on the bottom. Remember, that's how Dale Earnhardt Jr. got by Matt Kenseth a year ago. Matt opened that door just a little bit getting into turn 3.
Here he goes. He's going to lay it on again. Bam.
In the middle, coming off the corner.
Yeah. Bam. So that's how much you're holding me up, Buddy Rowe.
He's going to have company. On the outside, the group of cars have formed up.
Well, he's just trying. What he's trying to do is shake him up out of the way. Put enough pushing on him and get him nervous. He'll get him nervous enough, he'll pull over here in a minute.
Trouble is, there's not a lot of difference between shake and shove. Oh, baby. Matt?
Jimmy's spotter, Chris Osborne, just told Jimmy that NASCAR is going to tell the 8 to calm down a little bit, so just hang on.
Oh, that won't do anything but make him mad, Matt. He'll just drive around him on the outside.
It took them a while, but those teammates, they found each other. They're going to push each other back to the front. And look at Kenny Schrader still up there in that 49 car.
Yeah, that Swan's looking much prettier.
A little prettier than a duck.
Yeah, not so ugly duckling, but beautiful Swan. You know the story.
I thought he was going to sing the Swan song there for a minute, but he's coming back.
That's Ricky Rudd alongside of the 25 of Brian Vickers. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Brian Vickers has had an eventful few laps, Mike. He had a radio change under the caution. The crew could talk to him, but he couldn't talk to them. Then he had more left rear fender work. Then the engine was running hot. They pulled tape to fix that. He wanted to top off, but he couldn't because he was the free pass cry. And let me tell you what, this crowd is going berserk. We can hear them scream over the top of the engines, even as the cars go by.
But Dick, the impressive thing about Brian Vickers, remember, he had to start at the tail end of the longest line, so he restarted this race 27th, and that was only 8 laps ago, and he's up to 10th already.
And Harvick right there pushing on Kenny Schrader, trying to work the two of them back to the front. Trouble is, there's no place to go.
Coming to you.
Now Tony Stewart's latched on to Junior and Waltrip. Well, I say latched on. He's the next car in line.
Now, the one thing that Junior does is, you see, he gets up, he starts running all over the place. And that makes it hard for Michael or anybody else to work with him. He opens the door, you know, he's got it up high, he's got it down low. And it's hard to draft somebody like that.
No way to anticipate where he's actually going to go.
No.
Like he's playing his video game. Up, down, sideways, in the middle. And he's got them all stacked up behind him.
Look at that.
I tell you what, somebody else has realized we only got about 25 or 26 laps to go. Mark Martin in that 6 car up there. He's getting racy right now, making his 575th Nextel Cup start here today. He has 2 wins. He'd like to make it 3.
And he's got help from Casey Mears, Ricky Rudd, Ryan Newman, and Jeff Green on the outside.
That McMurray car, the 42 car, has been pretty darn steamy all day long.
And guys, with 25 laps to go, we still got 25 cars within 2 seconds of each other right now, fighting to try to get to the front.
I just firmly believe if Michael would just stay right there with Junebug, that that'd be a hard. That's a pair to beat a full house right there.
11 times the Talladega race has been settled by a last lap pass. We talked about Kenny Schrader. His first career win came here in '88 when he came from 4th to 1st on the final lap.
Michael just opened the bottom up for Jimmy Johnson, and he's going to be in trouble. He's going to get caught in the middle.
Got Jimmy Johnson in the 48 on the low side. Got Jamie McMurray in the 42 on the high side. Michael don't have anyone really pushing him in the back right now.
He's caught in the trap.
And look who's together again on the bottom. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon have found each other once again.
Jimmy Johnson's wanting to get to that red rear bumper right there. He remembers what happened about 6 laps ago.
I just believe if any 2 cars can get up there and work together, they got a chance. Otherwise, Junior's just going to go from one side to the other and keep them all messed up.
Junior gets away from Jimmy Johnson, and Mark Martin slices the Viagra car to the bottom.
Clear behind you.
Now he pulls up to the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car. Up there in 2nd place as we've got 24 laps to go, 23 next time.
And here's when your driver gets so frustrated. You're holding that thing wide open. You're making all the best moves you know how to make, and people are going by you on both sides.
And Michael Waltrip's now the 5th place car. He's been shuffled back on the outside.
This has to be so rewarding for Mark Martin in that 6 car. He smiled the entire speed weeks back in Daytona in February. He knew he had a good race car, lost an engine, finished dead last. Here he is bidding for the win here with about 20-something laps to go.
Every time Mark went on the track at Daytona, Larry, remember we were laughing because he'd come on the radio and say, "This thing will run."
Yes, sir. Well, she's running today.
The new Roush Yates Ford engine package coming to fruition on the restricted tracks as Mark Martin trying to end Chevrolet's dominance of the Talladega races.
Tony Stewart going to make it 3 wide off turn 2. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack in that 20 car.
Well, Michael just doesn't seem to be able to keep his car on the bottom. He keeps opening the bottom up and people get under him. Whoa.
Casey Mears to the bottom under Tony Stewart, tries to make a little room to get up to Jimmy Johnson.
And I think Tony Stewart just bounced off of Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, well, he was trying to block him a little bit, and they got together and opened the door up for 41 to go under.
Well, Jeff Gordon wasn't quite quick enough to stay with Jimmy Johnson.
Whoa, what was that? It flew off the... I saw something fly off of one of the cars. Yeah, I just saw something fly off of somebody's car.
That'll put us under caution for the 9th time today. Caution number 9, lap 166.
It wasn't very much. It looked like a piece of rubber or maybe a piece of tape, but I did see it fly up.
Well, let's see it here.
See where it come from.
Behind Casey Mears.
There, and whatever that is.
Although somebody ran over something. And the 9th caution flag here ties the Talladega record. We've had 52 lead changes. Only 4 spring races at Talladega have had more. The 2 we mentioned, plus 2 that were won here in the Wood Brothers Mercury by David Pearson in 1972 and 74. Welcome back to Talladega, where Dale Earnhardt Incorporated has been so strong. 5 straight victories at Talladega and 10 of the last 13 Nextel Cup restrictor plate races have gone to DEI drivers Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, and Dale Sr. still holds most of the records for restrictor plate racing. Most wins, most top 5s, most top 10s. So Junior's doing a great job. Got a lot of catching up to do, though.
Pit road is still closed. You know, we have 27 cars on the lead lap. Darrell, if you're telling me that thing's driving good, it's been 17 laps since we restarted this race. If it's driving good, and I know I've got enough fuel to get to the end, I'm staying out. I want to be at the front of this pack. I don't want to have to work my way back up there again.
No, you know, it's kind of like you say, these cards have been dealt to you, young man. Deal with it.
You got what you got.
Dick Berggren is in the leader's pit.
with Tony Uri Sr., Dale Earnhardt's crew chief. Your driver says he's been having fun today. You having fun?
Well, I'm glad he's having fun. We're not having. There's a lot of good cars out there today, and it's good tight racing. It looks like Martinsville, the sides of the cars, look like half of them got donuts on them. But you know that Budweiser Chevy's run good all day. We wasn't real confident with it yesterday, and we changed a few things this morning, tried to make it better, because we wasn't happy the way it pulled up yesterday. And seems like we fixed that, and we were a little loose yesterday morning. The first practice, a little tight the second, so I think all that's gone too. So everything we did this morning was a plus, and hopefully we can pull this thing off. You know, we let Michael beat us here the last time, so we need to get us another streak going.
Thanks. Good luck to you. Steve Burns.
All right, thanks, Dick. With Slugger Labby, crew chief on the 15 car, Michael Waltrip. You're sitting here with about 19 to go. What's the game plan, and what are your nerves like?
Well, nervous, you know, from lap 1. We can't wait to get to lap 188, but the Napa Chevrolet's been running great all day long. You know, we're here to win this race, and if we can't, we're going to help our teammate win it. You know, DEI's here for 6 in a row, and if we can't do it, we're going to help Dale Jr. do it, that's for sure.
All right, good luck. Let's go to Matt.
And Chad Canals high atop their pit box talking to his driver, Jimmy Johnson. They were kind of throwing around the option of possibly pitting for fresh tires, but like the guys in the booth talked about, going to take a long time to get back up to the front. Okay, they're talking about staying out. Let's go to Jeannie's Alaska. We'll come back to Chad in a minute.
And that conversation continues, Pat Trice. And I just heard you say on the radio, shall we, breaking news, looks like you're probably going to stay out, just between you and me, right?
Yeah, just between me and you, we're going to stay out. The Viagra Ford Taurus has been good all day. We've just been a little bit tight, and he's been, you know, being careful, you know, making sure we make it to the end. And so now it's time to go, so we're going to stay out there and hopefully stay with that 8 for a while, and then hopefully maybe get him on the last lap.
All right, thank you, sir. Matt, you ready?
Jeannie, a lot of guys are hitting pit road, including the 12. Chad Canals, you're staying out. DW wants to know, how good is that race car now?
It's a lot better now than what it was this morning. I mean, we really had to work on it today. We've had to do a lot of air pressure adjustments, and we've had to really play with the wedge, you know, to try to keep the ride heights right and get all that stuff right. But the car's a lot better. We're pretty pleased with it. I mean, it's plain as day who's got the best car out there. You know, Jimmy's done a tremendous job. He's the one carrying the team today, and I'm very proud of him. You know, this Lowe's team, they've done a great job preparing the car. We just weren't able to put it all together on race day. But we're going to go out there. We're going to try to get ourselves a top 10, and we're going to go on to Fontana and have a real good time out there.
And he won there. That's where he scored a big, big win. To Steve Burns.
Well, Matt, on the previous caution, when the cars pitted, Robbie Gordon took just 2 tires. After a few laps, he got shuffled back. He told crew chief Chris Andrews, we made a mistake. We should have put on 4 tires. They've just done that. They came in, put on 4 tires, and now they have plenty of gas to make it to the end.
The first 16 cars stayed out, Steve. Jimmy Spencer getting a boost of water to replace the overheated water that was in that Morgan McClure Chevy, but both of their cars, rookie Eric McClure in his first Talladega Cup start and Jimmy Spencer, have stayed on the lead lap all day.
Yeah, that's a good improvement for the McClure crowd there. You know, Tim Brewer and all of them. To have both cars still running, both cars still on the lead lap, that's a good job. And way to go, Park.
Another car that's on the lead lap that came in and stayed in there for an extensive period of time, a lot like Jimmy Spencer. Greg Biffle in the 16 car, they continued to put water in that car. We got the information earlier. He had been running hot. What I'm seeing is Robbie Gordon, Brian Vickers, Terry Labonte, Scott Wimmer, Ryan Newman, Jeff Green, Eric McClure, Jeremy Mayfield, Elliott Sadler, Kyle Petty of our lead lap cars came to pit road, mostly for 4 tires, make adjustments.
Kyle Petty has been doing a good job today, too.
Under 20 laps to go in the Aaron's 499. This is NASCAR on Fox. 170 laps complete, 18 to go. Will Dale Earnhardt Jr. score Chevrolet's 11th straight Talladega win? Will Mark Martin break that string at 10? Can Jeff Gordon hold his car on the bottom to run with Jimmy Johnson? What about Michael Waltrip? Jamie McMurray in the Dodge. Casey Mears, his teammate right behind him. Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Ricky Rudd, they're all still running in the top 10 as you watch our Quaker State aerial coverage from the world's fastest speedway as we get ready to go back to green.
I think we're going to have a heck of a race for second.
Oh, you optimist, you.
I don't know.
We'll see here, 17 laps to go.
I've just seen this act several times here recently, and is shaping up to be another one.
Jimmy Johnson to the bottom with McMurray. They're going to strand Michael Waltrip up top.
You know, you look at Dale Jr. and you look in your mirror and you say, Mark Martin, where'd he come from? I haven't seen him all day now. I don't know. I haven't played with him very much.
Tell you, Michael in the 15 car, though, he got a heck of a push from Casey Mears from the 41 car off turn 2 that last time.
Behind Martin.
Tony Stewart coming. Oh, Jimmy Johnson going.
And McMurray hanging like he has all day long. He's been right there in the top 4 or 5. The car has really done well for him today.
That might be the next best car here. Mark Martin runs in second. Jeannie.
Well, where did he come from, guys? He just had to wait for some of the traffic to clear. Mark Martin has been saying on the radio, I can't really run high, I can't really run low when I'm in traffic, but when I get into some clean air, this car loves it, and it's showing.
Well, he's 1 car length away from clean air.
That's semi-clean.
16 laps to go at Talladega. We've had 9 caution flags, including an 11-car wreck at lap 84, but we've had 23 leaders swap the front spot back and forth 52 times.
We've got, as you said, 16 laps to go. We've got 27 cars on the lead lap, all within 3 seconds. We don't want to come off this picture right here, but I want to give a call to Eric McClure back there. He's on the lead lap in a second Morgan McClure car. He didn't receive no free pass. He has stayed on the lead lap all day long. His first Nextel Cup start, great run for him.
Boy, what a place to make it. Has anybody got anything for Dale Jr.? Boy, look at that pack 3 wide.
Oh,
they think they do.
It's amazing how you just feel it, as having been there, done that. You just know how your energy is increasing, how your anxiety is increasing. Cars are passing you now, and you know you're running out of laps to get them back.
We've been from the shortest track to the longest, fastest track in 2 weeks. Next week, we go California dreaming.
And you're helpless, Mike. I mean, you know, you got it to the mat. You're trying to pick the right line to get in. You're trying to make the right move. You do the wrong thing, and they all go by you.
And right now, wouldn't you think Mark Martin is trying to anticipate, you know, where can I get a line on Dale Earnhardt Jr. that maybe Tony Stewart would try to push me with that 20 car?
Ooh, Johnny Sauter and Brendan Gaughan to get together.
Oh, they're tight right here through this trial. Holy cow. Casey Mears is shoving Jamie McMurray in the 42 car. And
well, it's 5 o'clock in the East Coast. Welcome to the world's fastest rush hour.
5 o'clock somewhere, I know that.
See Jimmy Johnson in the 48 make a move to the bottom. Tony Stewart puts a block on him. Then Jeff Gordon in the 24. His teammate makes a move to the high side. Harvick says, excuse me, let me through the middle here in that 29 car.
Carol, you can't help but get frustrated.
Oh, no, it just drives you crazy. You run up front all day long. You've made the right moves all day long, and you make one bad one here at the end, and it can cost you 10 spots.
NASCAR continues to remind these guys not to block. They've turned their radio down now, though, because we only got 14 laps to go.
Harvick, high, wide, kind of handsome, coming around the outside for 4th place. He's got help.
Boy, Jimmy Johnson just put the block on Michael. Michael had a good run on him, but he had to block him.
And Darrell, NASCAR will continue to monitor that out-of-bounds line at the bottom. They're going to make sure we don't have a move that's made below that line.
I think it'll come into play before we get to the end of this one. This is about as intense as I've seen it here in a long time.
Jeff Burton gets into the back of Jeff Gordon. Just trying to help him down that straightaway.
Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, he makes a move on the high side. He's going to go around Mark Martin in the 6, getting a push from Casey Mears in the 41.
Oh, there's
got trouble.
Tony
Stewart in the 20 car. Caution is out.
I think he's going to save it.
But the caution is out.
Buddy, now, I don't care what anybody says. That's a piece of driving right there.
10th caution of the day, right front down. Watch the 20 car.
Jimmy Johnson's got to run underneath it, Tony, and it looks like, I don't know if Tony even knew he was there or not. Boy, this is a great piece of driving.
I tell you what, that's a great piece of work by the safety equipment on that car. Those roof flaps deployed when he got sideways, slowed the speed of the car down.
And as in the earlier crashes, just the slightest touch will send a car spinning.
Yeah, he come up off the bottom just enough to open it up for Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy stuck his nose in there. They made contact.
Darrell, how do you save that car like that?
I would like to say it's luck, but when I see the steering wheel turning, the wheels locking up, releasing, that guy in there, he's staying on top of it all the way to the end. Now he's going to have a problem here if he tears one of these, if he has a tire come apart and tears his fenders up.
Larry, this may answer the question on who could and who wasn't sure if they could make it on fuel.
Yeah, I'm going to say that last pit stop pretty much made that call, but if any of them were still close, remember we talked earlier, 2 caution laps to 1 green lap. This should definitely put everybody safe. But yeah, he flat spotted most of these tires. You can see right there the left front is flat. As you said, Darrell, he's just trying to get back to pit road where that tire don't come apart and tear the fender up.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed that he could save that car. It's a good thing that they got all that pavement down there these days, because we didn't used to have that.
Stewart is 27th. He is still on the lead lap, Matt.
Mike, he just came on the radio, told Greg Zipadelli, he said, if I can get this car back without tearing up the fenders, meaning if the tires come apart and start flapping and tearing up that sheet metal, bolt on 4 fresh tires, I really believe we have the car that can get back up to the front and give Junior a run for his money.
Well, like I said earlier, being back in the pack is not a bad thing, but I don't know if 10 laps is enough time to get to the front.
It'll sure be fun to find out.
We'll know here shortly.
Similar to when Tony got into Kurt Busch that triggered the 11-car pileup, here's Jimmy Johnson just barely nudging Stewart.
Yeah, and you see the bottom comes open, and Jimmy Johnson puts his nose in there. I think Tony was going to try to take his line away.
I mean, just look, the miles per hour. He was sideways starting at 188 miles per hour. He comes across the grass here. He never got slower than about 86 miles per hour during all that spinning.
Well, he's always had incredible car control, and there again, I mean, that's just part of it.
10 caution flags is a spring race record for Talladega, Matt.
Mike Lingerfeld already hit the lugs of the left front. The left front tire was down on the inner liner. They're working on some of the sheet metal. On the right side, they throw a hammer to little Mike Lingerfeld. Going to work on that right side sheet metal of Tony Stewart's Chevrolet. Another hammer shot across the front of the pit.
Trying to create a little clearance between the tire and the fender.
That's the biggest thing. They need to make sure that none of those fenders will be rubbing any of those tires when he goes back out there.
Let's join Chris Myers and Jeff Hammond.
Well, Jeff, you were disagreeing with Darrell Waltrip about, hey, is there enough time left with 10 laps to make your move?
From what I've seen today, Chris, I really believe that Tony Stewart has got a car. Just a little bit of help gets in the right position. He can't make his way back up. The key's going to be we need to go back to green as soon as possible to give him as much time as possible to find the right dance partner, to hit the right hole, and to work his way back to the front.
Dance partner this late in the game. Yeah. Let's go back to the biggest one of today. Last year, 27 cars involved, 11 of them on lap 83, and Tony Stewart tapping Kurt Busch created it.
A little bit like we saw a minute ago with Jimmy Stewart and Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart. He got in that left rear of Kurt Busch and around he went. But the saddest thing about this whole situation are the other cars like Kenny Wallace, Rusty Wallace, and Derek Cope. You see a bunch of cars get caught up in a big wreck like this.
Jimmy Stewart, a big fan of NASCAR from what I can remember. This is moments ago, though. Take us through this, Jeff.
Very same, like I say, same situation right there. Tony Stewart kind of moved down a little bit. Jimmy Johnson was coming on the inside. He flipped his left rear quarter panel. But again, you can't say enough about what Tony Stewart was able to do, keeping that car out of the wall. But you need to notice one thing. When that car was going backwards, you see both the roof flaps came up, which allowed the tires to still grip the racetrack and him work the brakes and the throttle to keep the car under control.
So Tony Stewart still in the hunt, in your opinion. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading at the moment with just 10 laps to go under caution. Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick following. Let's rejoin Larry, Darrell, and Mike.
Talladega, home to the world's fastest speedway, is also home to the International Motorsports Hall of Fame, just outside Turn 4, where Thursday evening, Bill France Jr., longtime NASCAR president, was enshrined in the Hall of Fame, along with drag racer Shirley Muldowney, hydroplane racer Bill Muncy, IndyCar racer Bobby Rahal, and Alabama's greatest short track racer Red Farmer. Our congratulations to all of them, as voted by a select panel of media and by the current members of the Hall of Fame, which is open year-round. Jim Freeman and his staff would love to have you come visit.
Yeah, Bill Muncy drove the Miss Madison. They just did a movie about that boat. It's from Madison, Indiana. It's up the Ohio River there. They used to race in Owensboro there on the Ohio. And, of course, Red Farmer, like I say, I raced against him when he was a kid.
And Darrell, I think you and Jeff Gordon actually did the induction of Bill France Jr.
Yeah, we did. It was really neat. Jeff and I had the opportunity. It's kind of like old school and new school, you know, and that was cool. Bobby Ray Hall. I always thought his name was Bobby Ray Hall. So I always call him Bobby Ray.
We're going to get a restart with 9 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has held off all comers and kept the number of lead changes stagnant at 52 so far today. Mark Martin in that Roush Ford in second. Kevin Harvick Chevrolet has fought back up to third. Casey Mears in the Dodge is fourth. Jimmy Johnson fifth. Michael Waltrip sixth. Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray, Robbie Gordon, and Jeff Burton the top 10. Pace truck is in. It'll be a 9-lap shootout.
This has definitely been one of the most important restarts for all these guys all day long. Everybody watching who might lag back on it.
I think Mark's right up on back of Dale Jr. He knows he can't let him get away. Looks like Harvick got a really good run on Mark. He's going to probably try to dive under him. There he goes.
It looks like Mark Martin's going to get left on the high side as Casey Mears in the 41. He wants to follow Kevin Harvick. Jimmy Johnson, though, in the 48 car, he's moving up to the high side. He gets pinched up. He can't get back in. Look at Jeff Gordon, though, in the 24 car making a run on the high side.
See, all that blocking is what I was talking about in the opening. And Michael had to block Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson got to block Tony. Tony's got all that blocking is what causes this contact.
Here comes Harvick to the outside. He's going to take it to Junior and take the lead.
And he's got a push from Casey Mears in the 41 car. Mark Martin in the 6 as well. But Dale Earnhardt Jr., he has his teammate on the bottom side, Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, but Harvick's up there now. Of course, the Junior, you don't know what Junior's kind of game he's playing. He might want to be behind Harvick and pass him, just like Harvick just went around Dale Jr.
8 laps to go and they come by. Lead change 53, tied for the 3rd most ever in the spring race here.
Boy, Junior's car doesn't come up to, you know, earlier in the restarts, remember, he fell back to about, I don't know, 15th, 20th place. These restarts don't seem to be very good for him.
I think the biggest thing we've got with 8 laps to go, we got 3 hungry guys up there that wants to get the victory lane first through third.
As a matter of fact, I heard Junior tell in the interview say, you know, sometimes I get a little relaxed on the restarts.
Picked a bad time to relax if that's what happened. How about Casey Mears? Right there in second. His uncle's in this Hall of Fame. 4-time Indy winner Rick Mears. Mark Martin still in contention. Gordon and Earnhardt side by side. Waltrip and Johnson behind them. Burton and McMurray behind them.
But I think one of the hungriest guys is Mark Martin in that 6 car, just like Rusty Wallace was last week at Martinsville.
Casey Mears running in second. His prior best finish here, 37. Now he's in a position to maybe win it.
Yeah, and I don't think that, you know, Harvick or Casey, either one, is going to give up very easily. I don't know. I think that my pulse is coming. My pulse rate's coming up. I know that.
And Darrell, with 6.5 laps to go, we've seen him do some pretty phenomenal things with less than 2 laps to go. But I just wonder, is that 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., too far back now?
Still got him clear, both of his clear high.
I don't think he is, Larry. I think he's going to be able to slingshot around the outside of these guys.
Coming with the help.
There he comes.
He has his teammate, Michael Waltrip, in the 15 car with him.
Car seems to be a little lazy on the restart, but I think he really wants to be right where he is.
You're clear. Michael's coming with you. He's clear, too. Both of you are clear.
Uh-oh, Harvick has no friend.
Keep it coming. You got Jeff Gordon looking up the middle.
You made the run, Darrell. It only took him a half a lap.
Oh, man, I can't believe Junior dove down and left Michael hanging.
Nine's on the bottom by himself, 2 wide behind the 29.
And Michael Waltrip's backing up. He's back to about 10th spot.
Yeah, well, he and Dale Jr. are up on the outside together.
I mean, we got 140,000 people here with 5.5 laps to go. Nobody's sitting down.
Whoa, Gordon way to the bottom of the racetrack, and Jimmy Johnson comes right up the bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Gordon gets the lead. But can he keep it?
No, he can't. The 8 car is just so strong, they can make a run on him, and obviously they get to, oh, boy. That was almost a disaster.
Yes,
that
it
like
was.
A Tony Stewart deal there.
5 laps to go this time.
Well, I got to say, this is the best race I've seen here in a long time.
Darrell, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 car was sideways off turn 4. I don't even think he ever got out of the throttle.
Couldn't.
No, lifters are losers here.
That's it.
Robbie Gordon in the mix now in 5th place, that bright orange singular car.
Trying to get up with his teammate.
Kevin Harvick.
But look at the outside line. Jamie McMurray in the 42 car. Michael Waltrip in the 15. He's fighting his way back up.
Gordon inches ahead.
Right there is where Junior is so strong. sailing off into
Oh, trouble.
turn.
One car around, and it's Brian Vickers.
All right, the caution is out, and we are past the red flag lap. We are past the red flag lap. But remember, the field was frozen when the caution flag came out.
And who at that moment was the leader? We'll have to go back and see.
It would be obviously either Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 or Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Brian Vickers able to drive away after bringing out the 11th caution of the day in turn 3.
Well, there's no debris, there's no problem with the racetrack. I mean, I can't imagine we can't get this thing back started here with 4 laps to go.
The field is frozen at the moment of caution, which NASCAR defines as when the flag waves or the lights come on. They have scoring loops around the track to look at positions of the various cars and video replays to aid them in resetting the field. Can they reset it in time?
Yeah, and based on the last couple of restarts with the 8-car Dale Jr., I don't know if they have to go green, white checker if he can get up to speed as quick as some of these other guys seem to be able to.
Even though NASCAR will sort it out, as you see these two guys behind the pace car, both of them want up there. They want behind. They want to be the first car behind that pace truck.
We are at a point where the red flag would no longer be displayed to stop this race, sort things out. They do announce in the drivers' meeting the last lap on which that could happen, and we have passed that point. So either we gather the field up for a restart, or they take a look at how they were running at the moment of caution to decide the finish.
And when you are challenging the call, you pull up beside the guy. So how many challenges do we have here?
Jeff Gordon will be the leader.
And I think they just told the crowd that too.
Scoreboard is not yet changed to reflect that, but that is what we're being told as of the moment of caution. Question will be, can we get restarted?
I think we're going to have a green, white, and checker. That's the way it's looking to me.
Well, to do that, Darrell, they'd have to give 1 to go when they come past the start line, and we're not seeing that indication.
Yeah, this is...
we're now on 3 to go.
Can come by the next time, and I don't know. Don't look like we're going to make it.
If they give them 1 to go next time, that means we would have a 1-lap shootout.
Yeah, it'd be
now,
green.
There's
white,
Brian Vickers. Watch the 25 on the right of your screen.
He gets squeezed in there, and he gets loose, and he gets down in the side of the 41 car, Casey Mears.
Boy, Michael Waltrip, the 15, Ricky Rudd, the 21, just
Ricky,
getting by.
I think Ricky may have eclipsed him.
So now, here's
Gordon.
Jeff Gordon leading, Harvick and Jr.
Yeah.
The car is sideways. And in NASCAR's determination at the moment of caution, that's when they decide who is the race leader. Not at the instant the car spins, but when the caution is issued by the NASCAR officials next door and on the flag stand.
And you got to remember, when they say up over here in the booth, put it out, it takes a second for the flagman to even get it out.
There you see right there, the yellow lights were on. So we pretty much know if we're going to get back racing, we have to get 1 to go this next time.
Oh boy, that could be disastrous.
And for that to happen, NASCAR needs to make sure that the track is clear and that the field is aligned.
I don't know.
27
looks like
cars.
Looks like the flagman is pretty well committed to the yellow flag. I don't see him going for the green.
So we'll be on 2 to go this time.
And if they don't give a 1 to go, that would be it.
Yeah, we come in, next time by, we're coming to the white. They'd have to give them 1 to go right now.
No such signal. So again, let's show you what happens. Here are the leaders. There is the spin.
And you saw he was about a half a car length ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. when Brian Vickers was completely sideways. Yellow light's already blinking.
That's the kind of finishes we have here. We normally just have them down here at the start-finish line. That was about a half a car length. And look at that car. Sides all beat in on it. Tires got the Goodyear rubbed off of them. But that baby's going to victory circle.
NASCAR instituted these rules more than half a season ago to freeze the field at the moment of caution to prevent racing back to the caution flag. There had been a gentleman's agreement in place not to race back unless you were challenging the leader. But as time went on and the pressure to win became great, NASCAR found that the gentleman's agreement had pretty much dissolved, and they needed to take action to ensure the safety of all the drivers on the racetrack, especially one that might have spun and found himself sitting facing the field as they came racing back to the caution flag. So that's why the change was made, in the interest of safety. And on balance, having had half a season to look at it, it was a good move.
Yeah, and it's a rarity. It has been in the past for us to end these races like this. It happens occasionally, and it's unfortunate that you know, we have to end the thing under caution, but it's for everybody's best interest.
The last restart I remember here at Talladega that they gave with 1 lap to go ended up with Rusty Wallace upside down while battling Dale Earnhardt for the lead on a 1-lap shootout. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Robbie Gordon, 5 Chevrolets lead the Fords of Mark Martin and Jeff Burton, the Dodges of Casey Mears and Jamie McMurray, and Bobby Labonte's Chevrolet. They will be the top 10 if they're able to complete this final lap at what looks like an agonizingly slow 70 miles per hour. White flag.
I'm sure NASCAR will have a lot of sorting out to do because we have 27 cars on the lead lap figuring out who finished where. But we had a lot of Fords that were strong today. Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, a lot of Dodges, Casey Mears, Jamie McMurray. But right now, as scoring sits, Chevrolets are the top 5 positions.
Still, you got to give a call to Mark Martin and Burton. Jeff Burton particularly. I mean, that team has struggled. And to get a top 10 today, a 7th place finish. Michael fell all the way back to 12th. Brendan Gaughan. We didn't talk much about him today. He's up to 13th there at the finish.
And Bobby Labonte, who we documented during the day, rode at the back. Right now, he's being scored in 10th position in that 18 car.
Pole sitter Ricky Rudd will end up 16th or 17th here. Raw rookie Eric McClure in his first Cup start will finish on the lead lap, and it will be Chevrolet's 11th straight Talladega victory.
Spencer Fuller, they got the 21st spot there in the 4 car, so pretty good day for Morgan McClure. Kyle Petty up there in 24th. Schrader led the race there a little while. 23rd.
I'd say that's one happy group right there.
Good job, guys.
It's one of the fabricators who obviously plays a big role in a restrictor plate race car, the body, the aero side of it. And of course, the person these cautions hurt the most was Tony Stewart in that 20 car who was on the green flag laps.
Been perfect lately, so let's wait till I get that start-finish line. 4.
Tony Stewart will be 22nd. Just could not gain any ground after having to make that
free all over the place out there. Just watch it.
That final stop. And that's what NASCAR was concerned about. A lot of debris on the racetrack.
Play all Budweiser cans.
However, that debris has come from that section of the grandstand. That's a sad commentary. The fans, of course, they want to see a green flag finish. Safety of the drivers, though, is paramount. And Jeff Gordon will win the Aaron's 499 over Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Robbie Gordon.
Go.
Jeff Gordon, whose luck this season hasn't been what he wished for, he was lucky and good.
Unbelievable, baby. Unbelievable.
Welcome back to the Nextel post-race show. NASCAR and Nextel, partners in speed here at Talladega. Fans throwing debris out onto the track, upset with Jeff Gordon winning under the caution flag. And we'll hear from Jeff Gordon in just a moment. Let's rejoin Mike, Larry, and Darrell upstairs.
Chris, in a bizarre incident, after taking the checkered and caution flag together. Tony Stewart, watch Tony's car as he goes past the line and then inexplicably makes a left turn right in front of Terry Labonte, causing damage to both cars. Stewart then came the length of pit road the wrong way up to the spoiler check before going to the garage. We will talk to Tony Stewart in a bit. Here's Chris.
Earnhardt Jr. for the most, Jeff Gordon came in tied with Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the most restrictor plate wins among active drivers with 6. He now has 7 after winning here. Let's get down to victory lane with Jeff and Matt Yoka.
And the DEI Talladega streak ends at 5 as Jeff Gordon wins his first restrictor plate points paying race since this event back in the year 2000. A big win for the 24 guys. Despite how big to beat the DEI guys.
Woo, man, thank God somebody did. I didn't want to do it that controversial. I tell you, the Pepsi boys put it on the beer boys today, but I tell you what, wow, what an amazing day. What a great race. This package that we have here is incredible. I'm so happy that NASCAR's picked what they have here and makes for great racing, and it's about the safest thing as we could possibly have out there too. But man, I tell you what, it was hairy and just staying out of trouble. Got to thank DuPont, of course, Pepsi, GMAC, Quaker State. Who else do we have on here?
Well, Papa Joe called from the hospital. He could not believe how exciting that win was.
Well, we've been trying to get one for Papa Joe, and I know Rick and Papa Joe are watching back to hospital, boys. This one's for you, yes!
Long time since you've won a plate race, Jeff.
Long time since I've won a race, it seems like, but I can't think of a better one to win. You know, we run so darn good on the restrictor plate tracks, but those DEI guys have just been embarrassing us, and yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen there. I mean, I knew I got ahead of them, you know, going into 3. I couldn't pass them. I passed them, but I wasn't passing them. You know, and luckily right before I put the afterburner on, the caution must have come out. So I'm going to go with NASCAR on that one. I'm not sure if everybody here agrees, but I certainly do.
And there was a lot of debris out on that racetrack, too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they were Pepsi cans or beer cans, but there was a lot of aluminum out there on the track, that's for sure. So I did a burnout over all those cans, and man, I tell you what, it just feels great to get back to victory lane and to celebrate these guys right here. This is one awesome race team right here. Hendrick Motorsports, their whole entire organization, Robbie Loomis, Brian Weitzel. It's a phenomenal day for us.
Jeff Gordon scores his 3rd career Talladega win.
Well, in a real demonstration of class, Dale Earnhardt Jr. stopped at the 24 car, Jeff Gordon's car, and congratulated them on the win. And everybody else in the top 5 that has pushed by here, you've reached around to congratulate them. But let's talk about the finish. Was the decision by NASCAR correct? Did Gordon win the race as far as you're concerned?
Well, I mean, I'm biased, of course, but I felt like I was ahead of him before the light came on, and certainly, I mean, if I beat the light, I had to been pretty close on the flag. So, you know, I don't know. I couldn't see the flag stand. I don't know exactly how NASCAR makes their decision on freezing the field, exactly when they freeze it, but I thought I was a miles ahead of him. I didn't even think it was close, but it's a great points day, first or second. So pretty happy about that. Unfortunately, you know, we don't make the decisions or the rules, and we'll listen to what NASCAR has to say. I think Tony Sr. wants to see the film, wants to see what their decision, how they base their decision, and we'll go with that. So we've learned in the past to keep our mouth shut and to keep a better attitude about it, and it was a fun. I mean, I had a blast. I had so much fun. You know, it was a couple times I shouldn't have finished the race, so we were real fortunate just to be where we were at the end.
Like we said, all class. Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Dick and Junior. The video clearly